This is going to be a long video, but you won't watch it. You're not going to be able to watch it, mate. You will not be able to give this video your full time and attention. In this video, there is literally hundreds of pieces of advice that I have been cherry picking from my brain over the last 4 years of being on self-improvement. I blasted it onto a piece of paper that's really long and I am just recorded this full guide, almost like a full free online course for you to use. But you're not even going to get the first 10 or even 3 bits of advice from this video. I bet you're not even going to get past the intro because your brain is fried and your attention is shot. So don't watch this video if you're not going to give me your full attention, you don't have a notepad in front of you, and you're not going to make notes. I need your full attention for this video, but I bet you won't be able to do it. And there's going to be a few guys who are actually going to get to the end of this video, and those are the guys that are serious. Those are the guys that really want to get some good advice and really change their life from someone who may be just a couple steps ahead of them. So I'm going to break this video down into 3 distinct sections. Each one is going to help you with the next section. We need to get the first section mastered before we can move on to the next. I'm going to start off with your body. We need to get you healthy, we need to get you fit, we need to get you motivated. That's going to feed into your mind. I'm going to install some new apps into your brain and get you to uninstall some bullshit default setting apps in your brain. That's going to totally reframe your mindset and get you in the right position to actually make a change in your life. And then once we've got your mind sorted, I'm going to teach you from start to finish how to pick the best business model and how to actually start working on that business model for you. The 3 hours that you spend watching this video is going to be infinitely more valuable than the 3 hours that you would have spent today otherwise just scrolling through your phone or playing video games. So without further ado, for the guys who have actually made it past this intro and you're serious, you're going to give me your attention, get a notebook out, get a pen, get a black coffee, and let's jump straight into the first section. Okay, so the first section of this video, I'm going to talk to you about the body. And the one thing I want you to get into your head as we go through this section is you can't change your mind, like your mindset with your mind. You can only change your mind and the way you think by changing your body. So your actions is what's actually going to change the way you feel, the way you think, how motivated you are. And I'll go on later in this section into more detail as to why that specifically happens. But just think of it like this. You can't think your way out of being negative, of being demotivated, of not being focused. You have to change your body first. So that's why in this long ass video, I want to go through it in order where if you can give me your full attention and watch it from start to finish, I'm going to take you through each step. So from the body all the way up to actually taking some actionable steps to improving your life. But we need to start off with the body first, because to change the mind, which is the second level, we need to change the body. And the first thing that you need to do to improve your body is to focus on your nutrition. So what you put in your mouth. This is a saying that you'll have heard from being a kid, but you are what you eat. You just need to remember that phrase for the rest of your life now, okay? Going forwards. You are what you eat. So if you're eating like shit, you're eating processed foods, ultra processed foods, you're eating fast foods and takeaways every day, and you're just eating sugar and terrible foods, then you are going to become terrible, right? You're going to become very sluggish and unhealthy. And, you know, if you're eating kind of a lot of seed oils and things, you're going to become very overweight. You're not going to be in good shape. You're just not going to feel good. So you are what you eat. So you need to prioritize eating correctly and making sure that you put correct fuel in your body to actually fuel you, because you are the thing that is going to be driving your actions. You are your own mind. So we need to get the body sorted with the right fuel, the correct fuel to drive you forwards, to be able to do the things that you need to do to actually improve your life. So this is the first place that you need to start, is diet. And I've got a whole section in this video where I show you what I eat and the whole cooking process and how I prepare the food and lots of other insights whilst I'm cooking it. It's kind of like unedited, like in real time, so you can literally see how long it takes to cook the food and everything, and that's coming up later on in this video. So I'm going to give you some insights into diet and stuff like that right now. So the first thing that is the main bit of advice that I'll give you is do not eat processed foods or eat as little processed foods as you possibly can, especially ultra processed foods. Now, I heard a nice analogy, which is just a really easy way to tell if a food is processed or ultra processed. If it looks like it doesn't occur in nature, then it's ultra processed, right? So the example that I get all the time is gummy bears. So, you know, like the sweets gummy bears, they're like literal, like almost like plastic looking sweets in the shape of a bear. That's ultra processed because it doesn't obviously occur in nature. The actual material of the food, like the ingredients itself, doesn't even seem like it's edible, even though it is, because it kind of looks like a plastic. So that's like on the far end of the scale. Like if you look at a food like gummy bears and you asked like a tribal member of like, you know, some like Amazon rainforest tribe, and you gave them the gummy bear and you said, how is this made? Or like, what is this food? Like, and they wouldn't know what it is or wouldn't even know that it was food, then you know that it's ultra processed. And then on the other end of the scale, you have unprocessed foods. So this is things that you literally see like in nature or on farms. Like you see cows in the field, you see vegetables growing out of the ground, like potatoes and stuff, right? So these are all unprocessed foods. And the closer that you can get to just an unprocessed diet, the healthier you're gonna be. And the further along the scale you get towards like the foods where if you were to give it to an indigenous tribal member and ask them, what is this? What food is this? And they couldn't answer you, then that is ultra processed. So that is the first major bit of advice that I'm gonna give you in terms of eating. So the second bit of advice is you need to learn to track your calories. So this is something that's very difficult to do. It took me a long time to get into the regular practice of doing this. When I first started out on self-improvement like 4 years ago, I remember specifically getting this advice because I was into the gym at the time. I only got into self-improvement because I wanted to build a nice body. And so, yeah, I got the advice given that you need to track your calories. So what I did was I got a Excel spreadsheet that I made, and I put in some formulas and some calculations and stuff, and I would manually look on the back of the labels of all my products, and I would type in the protein and the carbs and the fats and everything like that, all the macros, and then it would add it out over the day and give me a total at the end of like how many calories I'd had, how much protein I'd had, how much fat I'd had, stuff like that. And then I would like give myself little goals in terms of like, you know, I only want to have 50 grams of fat in a day, and I want to try and hit like 180 grams of protein, and I want to hit like 2,200 calories. And if I ever went over or under that, then like the Excel spreadsheet would like change color to say that I'd gone over or under it. That was before I discovered that you can just use MyFitnessPal, which is an app if you've not heard of it before. So you can just download MyFitnessPal and it's completely free, and you just scan the barcode on the back and it does exactly what that spreadsheet that I made for myself does, but with no work having to put into it. And you can scan it so you don't have to type stuff in individually. So get MyFitnessPal and start tracking calories. What this does, it's gonna avoid you snacking throughout the day. So a big problem with a lot of young guys who are trying to improve the way they eat is they nail like breakfast, lunch and dinner. They get it perfect, right? They're eating all the right foods, they're eating unprocessed foods, and they're doing really well. But then when they get a little bit hungry and maybe their motivation's down and their discipline's a little bit down, they'll just like eat a chocolate bar or a bag of crisps. And this is something that I still do even to this day, even after practicing tracking calories for years now. It's still something that I do, but nowhere near as much as I used to. And the reason is because when you get into like a kind of obsessive habit of tracking your calories, you need to then like track the snacks that you eat, and it just provides an extra layer of like friction because you go to pick up the packet of crisps and you're like, oh, I've got to track this. And it's kind of like, because tracking calories is annoying, it's like another task that you've got to do. So when you pick up that snack that you wanted to eat and you know that you need to track it, it's just like a little reminder and kind of another layer, like another decision-making layer on top of it. And oftentimes it makes you think, you know what, no, I'm not going to eat that because I'm doing really well. You know, I had lunch earlier on, I tracked it and it was all good, and I'm on track to hit my macros. I'm on track to stay under my calorie target or to achieve my calorie target. Let's not ruin it by eating this packet of crisps or eating this chocolate bar. So this habit of tracking calories, it's a chore, and it is something which is very difficult to get into. if you're not doing it already. So the way that I would recommend getting into this, and this is how I personally got consistent with tracking calories, is to just set an alarm on your phone. And you're going to hear that a lot throughout this video, but really the way to build up a habit is to just have something remind you and to have some kind of accountability. So if you just set an alarm on your phone right now that goes off at the same time that you usually eat every day, so it could be at like 12 or 1 o'clock for like lunch, and then it could be later on for when you have your last meal of the day, just an alarm that goes off on your phone that just like says on the alarm on your home screen, track calories, right? So you just know every day, you get that little reminder. And honestly, if you do that for like 2 weeks, it becomes second nature. And for me anyway, because I probably have like OCD or something, right? I fucking get a little bit obsessed with tracking calories, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But yeah, I think getting obsessed over it, it's maybe not a healthy habit to be kind of getting obsessive over what you eat. But for me anyway, it just keeps you more consistent. And yeah, tracking calories is kind of just second nature to me now. So now I'm going to talk about the type of diet that I would recommend to you on self-improvement. So there's going to be 2 diets I'm going to recommend to you. The first diet is very good for if you're wanting to build as much muscle as possible at the gym, but it's not very good for being incredibly productive or maximizing the amount of work that you can put into like your online business or something, right? And the second diet is going to be kind of the opposite of that. It's going to be okay for the gym, right? It's not going to be the best for like building a ton of muscle or anything like that. Maybe you're going to build muscle a bit more slowly, but what it is going to be better for is fat loss specifically, and it's going to be better for like mental clarity, not feeling like shit, and actually being able to focus on your work and stuff like that. So the first diet is going to be where you don't eat carbs too early in the morning and you save your carbs for lunchtime and the last meal of the day. And what I would recommend doing for this is you eat your first meal at least 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up. So you're gonna wake up at like 6 o'clock, let's say, and then you're gonna have your first meal, like breakfast, at 7 or half 7, or maybe even 8 o'clock. Like if you can just leave it a bit longer and kind of lower that eating window a little bit, then you can eat your food at like, 7, half 7 or 8 o'clock. And for breakfast, I'm going to recommend that you don't have any carbs. So going back to that first bit of advice that I gave of don't eat ultra processed foods or processed foods, what could you eat then for a typical breakfast? Well, I would recommend just eating like 4 or 5 eggs, and that's it. Maybe some fish as well with it or something like that, but something very simple. Just keep your meals incredibly simple, the most minimal ingredients possible in your meals. That's what I do, and that's what works best for me, because it means that cooking doesn't become a chore, and it's very easy to track your calories and track everything in MyFitnessPal when you're using very little ingredients, because you don't have to scan lots of different barcodes, you don't have to type lots of different foods into the app. Just keep it super simple. So for breakfast, you're gonna have like 4 or 5 eggs and maybe some fish or something like that. And then for lunch, this is where you're actually gonna have some carbs. So one thing I will say before going into lunch is you're gonna have to build these diets around like your typical work day. So I'm gonna assume that from like 9 to 5, you're working in your job, or maybe you're at school or college or something, or university. So you're gonna be eating breakfast at like 8 o'clock, and then you're gonna have your lunch at like 12 or 1 o'clock, right? This is where you can have some carbs at lunchtime. So I would genuinely recommend keep it super simple. Get one of those like microwave bags of rice that you can get, or sometimes I have like noodles, like ramen or something like that, right? Just like a packet, and you just like put boiling water in the noodles, right? And eat that. And you can have some carbs now, and with some meat, like chicken, eggs, and then some carbs. So the reason we're having carbs at lunchtime is because it takes a little bit of time for the carbs to kick in and to enter what's called glycogen stores. So glycogen stores are basically storage sites in your muscles that store energy and store water for use later on. And it takes a bit of time when you first have them carbs at lunchtime to actually go into your glycogen stores. And what that means is when you come to do the gym after work at like, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 o'clock, whenever you've sort of finished at your day-to-day, whatever you do, then those carbs will have actually gone into your muscles, and you're going to have them available to use when you're actually lifting weights. So you're going to have your first set of carbs at lunchtime. If you had these carbs at breakfast, like if you had the typical like where I'm from in England, right, there's a typical British breakfast where you have like toast or something like that, like butter on toast, and then you have like cereals or something, right? You're gonna have the carbs first thing in the morning, but yes, you'll have your glycogen stores will be higher as you come to do your workout in the afternoon or whenever you do it, but you're gonna have a big carb crash, because the more and more you build up these glycogen stores and the more glucose that you have in your body and in your brain, it's just gonna generate more and more insulin and just create this brain fog, and you're not going to be able to do any work. Yes, you're going to have like a sick lift, you're going to be able to do a great workout, cool. If that's your main goal and that's all you care about, then go for it. But this is kind of like a self-improvement video, right? I'm trying to help you with all aspects of your life, not just purely the gym and getting as big as possible. I think the second diet that I'm going to recommend is going to be better for you, because it is going to help you at the gym, but it's also going to enable you to be able to work harder on whatever it is that you're putting your time and energy into right now. So that is the first diet, and then afterwards on a night you can again have probably something similar to what you had to lunch, so some carbs and meat and eggs and maybe some vegetables and stuff like that. But keeping everything super simple. Try and have all your meals be like 4 or 5 ingredients. And another tip to give you is when you're cooking these meats, try and just cook them with butter rather than cooking with like seed oils, because I genuinely just think like oils and stuff are just terrible for you, like especially for me with having eczema. So like if you've got any skin problems, oils and things like that, like the vegetable oils just seem to fuck with my skin. Like if I just have butter and cook my meats in that seems to help. So maybe that could help you too if you have any kind of skin issues. But yeah, try and cook with butter because it's just healthier for you. And that is the first diet. Now the second diet, which I'm currently on right now, I think it's better, and it's not really great for building a ton of muscle really fast, but it is good for losing fat, and it's good for mental clarity and being able to think and being a bit more focused, a bit more motivated and things like that to actually work and kind of just sit down and graft and kind of grind through that work. This is a good diet for that. And this is where you have low to no carbs. So there's, you can do keto or even carnivore, something more extreme like carnivore. I've done the carnivore diet before for a week and it was great. There was a couple of complaints that I've got, which I'll get into in a bit, but it was great overall. So the current diet that I'm on now, which I'm going to recommend to you now, is where you fast all morning and you don't eat until about maybe 12 or 1 o'clock, like lunchtime, right? That's your breakfast essentially, is midday. So you fast all morning. So I'll talk about fasting briefly. Fasting is just a cheat code to fat loss, weight loss overall, mental clarity, feeling good, everything. Fasting is so underrated, and I think people do this intermittent fasting where they kind of fast some days but don't fast other days. I would recommend, if you're serious about really getting your head down and just working and being a productive person every day, I would just fast every day, mate, because the amount of benefits that I've had from just not eating in the morning and doing my work, like this kind of work that I'm doing now, in the morning is so fucking, the difference, like when I've not eaten in the morning and I'm doing this kind of work without having eaten, like it's right now, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I've been working all morning and I've still not eaten any food yet. So this is quite a long fast for me. I probably will have one meal today, but the amount of additional like focus and motivation I've got, like I don't have any desire to sit here and just play video games. I don't have any desire to scroll through my phone. And I think that is genuinely just because I've not eaten yet. So one analogy I want to give you, and I just kind of want to really drive home fasting for you, right? And give you some more reasons to be excited about fasting. But think about a lion, okay? So lions hunt for their food, obviously. And they have to take down these like big buffaloes and stuff, and that's how they eat. Do you think a lion would be motivated and driven to go and hunt down a big dangerous buffalo if it was full? Like, no. Like, if you want to be driven and motivated and do the work, then you kind of have to be hungry, right? Like the whole aspect of your body being hungry does change your mindset to be more driven. And it goes back to the thing I said at the start of this video, which is, the body and what you do to the body really does have the biggest impact on how you feel. So think about that analogy, right? Animals will not hunt if they're full. Like when an animal has hunted its food, it's killed the animal that it's going to eat, it eats it, it just lays about all day, right, afterwards. Like a lion will hunt, it will eat, and then it will just sit on a rock and sunbathe, right? It just chills. It's like done for the day. It's like, cool, I'm done, and I can just chill in the sun now and do a bit of sunbathing, okay? So imagine now as humans, and you're trying to be this productive person, and like you just wake up and the first thing you do is just eat. There's an aspect, like a primordial aspect of your body that's sort of like, oh, well, we've kind of succeeded the day, right? We're done. We've eaten food, great. Like we don't really need to work, right, anymore. That's kind of like what your body's thinking. And then again with like watching porn and masturbating, right? Like one of the goals of your body is to reproduce and try to reproduce as much as possible. And that's why you have the urge to actually masturbate. But then when you do it, and you kind of release your seed, right? You're basically, your body's telling you, okay, we've reproduced today. So there's no reason that we need to work to go and talk to any girls or anything, or to like work in general. So you basically just need to think of things like that, like more animalistic, right? When we're talking about the body specifically, just try to be more animalistic about it and compare yourself to like lions and crocodiles and shit, right? When they're full and they've eaten food, they're not going to want to go hunt. They don't need to, right? So fasting, it's a fucking great method of just being hungry. When you're a bit more hungry, sometimes that is just what you need to be more productive. Like when you're having those days where you really want to do some work and you just can't. You can't fucking bring yourself to sit down and do that task that you've been putting off for days and days and days. It could just be something as simple as like you're just eating too frequently. Like you're just not hungry enough for it. Like you're kind of just comfortable, right? You're just eating, you've like had a wank, you just feel all right, right? This is the kind of whole point of this video. We need to get out of habits like this. So fasting is a cheat code to get you, feeling more productive and just feeling better. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, whenever I'm fasting regularly, I am so much more productive. But when I'm eating breakfast and kind of just chilling out, I don't get anything done. I get a little bit done, but it's not high quality, and it's, I can get so much more done when I'm fasting. So fast. What are you going to have to break your fast then on this diet? You're just going to have meat and eggs. So like you're going to cook the meat in the butter, you're going to have some eggs with it, and that's it. You're not going to have any carbs. So this is a low to no carb diet that I'm on. So the one thing I will say is I do have carbs. So I'm on kind of like a low carb diet. It's not no carb like keto or carnivore. And the reason that I have carbs is I save my carbs till the end of the day. So the last meal of the day I'll have with carbs, because it helps me personally to go to sleep, and it might help you to go to sleep as well. But yeah, you're going to have for lunch, you're just going to break your fast by just eating meat and eggs. And that means you can actually continue working throughout the afternoon as well. And this diet, in terms of the gym, I'll talk about how this interacts with like weightlifting and stuff. It's not going to affect your weightlifting too much. You're not going to be as strong in the gym because, again, you're not going to have those glycogen stores helping you out to lift more weight. But it's going to help you to, one, lose fat, because I've got a section after this where I cook the food and I talk about like how it helps you to lose fat and stuff. So stick around for that bit. But it is going to help you to lose fat. And it's also going to help you to obviously have a lot more protein. So you're going to be fasting in the morning, which is going to be like, you're not going to get your calories in, you're not going to be able to get any protein in the morning. But when you do have your lunch, because you're hungry and you're just going to eat a lot of meat and a lot of eggs, it's going to be quite a lot of protein, like maybe 70 to like 100 grams of protein at lunchtime. And then the same for, your last meal of the day. So you can easily get like 200 grams of protein on this diet. So you don't need to worry about protein at all. Even though you're tracking it, you don't need to worry about it. So you don't need to worry about losing too much muscle mass, because you're still going to be training at the gym regularly, and you're still going to be getting plenty of protein in to actually repair your muscles. So it's a really good diet to maintain the muscles that you've got, or maybe even grow them like very slowly, but not as fast as if you were eating carbs. But you're going to maintain that muscle. And then the fact that you're going to be losing fat on this diet as well, because it's just meat and no carbs, that is going to be super beneficial as well to make you look better, because you can build as much muscle as you want, but if you're fat over the top of that, then it's not really going to look very good. So you're going to lose fat. It's going to help you to maintain your muscle. You're going to get plenty of protein on this diet. And the main benefit is you're going to feel great. You're not going to have nearly as much brain fog. You can get the brain fog and the carb crash later on in the day when you've had your last meal, and maybe you've had some like potatoes and rice with it and stuff like that. But then you're going to bed at that point anyway. And that's why I personally like having the carbs at the end of the day, because I get that carb crash when I've had like my last meal of the day, But that's when I'm going to sleep anyway. So it just means that I can go to sleep and kind of actually get to sleep better. So yeah, that is the diet that I'm on at the moment. And I'm going to put a section in after this where I'm going to show you literally what I have for lunch. I'm going to show you me cooking it. I'm going to show you the process, and I'm going to talk whilst I'm cooking it on, give you like way more insights into this diet specifically. So that is the main two diets that I'm going to recommend to you. One of them is if you're wanting to be a bodybuilder, and one of them is if you wanted to be more sort of productive in terms of business and stuff like that. And the one thing I will say is there's going to be a lot of people when you tell them like that you're on this diet, right, that you're just going to eat meat and you're not going to eat any vegetables or fruit or nuts, or maybe you eat nuts, but you know, you're not going to eat vegetables, fruit, you're not going to eat any potato, rice, pasta, things like that, bread. There's a lot of people going to say, well, that doesn't sound healthy. You don't eat vegetables. That's not healthy. And the one thing that I'll remind you of is the people that are often telling you that, like your parents or your co-workers or maybe your friends, who are saying that this isn't healthy diet that you're about to try, where you just eat meat and fast in the mornings and stuff. The people who are saying that, if they're not where you want to be right now, then why are you fucking taking any advice from them, mate? Like, if your co-workers who are kind of not insanely fat, but they're kind of just out of shape, they're kind of just an average dude, and you have this co-worker who's been working in this same office with you for like the last 5 years, and maybe they've been working in this office for like 20 years, and they're trying to give you advice on diet, right? Just look at them and realize that they're like 40 years old, they're working in an office, and they have a very, very average, maybe even bad physique, and don't look particularly healthy. Why are you taking a diet advice from these people, right? If they're not where you want to be and they're not doing the kind of things that you want to do, then you shouldn't take any advice from them, especially not diet advice, because diet is super, super important to business success and how motivated and driven you are. It's all predicated on what you put in your body and how your body is feeling, right? Remember, the body changes the mind. We need to get our body right before our mind's going to change in terms of our work ethic and our motivation, mindset and stuff like that. So don't listen to these people try to give you diet advice and say that it's unhealthy to just eat meat and fats and go on the keto diet. Oh, the keto diet's not healthy, don't go on that, Joe. It's like, well, actually, you're not where I want to be when I'm your age. So you clearly haven't figured it all out. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he was on the best, healthiest diet that was best for your mind and productivity and everything, then he probably wouldn't be in the situation where he's even having to tell me this, right? So don't listen to, because I'm saying this from experience, right? I've told people the diets that I've tried and that I'm on, and a lot of people tell me it's very unhealthy. But then when I think about it, these people haven't got to where I want to be. And sometimes, you know, if you want to live a very extreme life that's very different from the norm, and you want to do something that's very interesting in life, then you need to change a lot of aspects of your life to kind of match that. So you need to have a bit more of an extreme diet to have this extreme lifestyle. Like, if you want to be a normal person like your co-workers and maybe like your parents are, and you kind of just want to have like this normal, very average life, then you probably need to eat a very normal, average food pyramid diet where you just eat bread and cereal and pasta and rice, and yeah, go for it. Like, that's what everyone else in the world eats, and everyone else in the world is very average and normal. But you're not watching this very long self-improvement video to be average and normal. You're watching it because, well, you know, you're going to put your full attention into this video, and you're not going to click off of it and go onto social media and doom scroll because you actually want to learn some valuable advice. But you're watching a long ass video like this because you're clearly a different kind of person, right? There's no way that you would put your time and energy and focus and attention onto such a video that's as long as this if you weren't serious about having like quite a different life to most people and doing something that's quite extreme. So yeah, don't listen to those people. Do your own thing. Like, self-improvement's all about trying things and experimenting things on yourself. Don't take advice from the people that aren't where you want to be. So yeah, try this diet. It's helped me a lot. You've seen this YouTube channel. Yes, it's a small YouTube channel, but you know, it's probably one more YouTube channel or one more YouTube video than what you've ever created. So, you know, maybe take my advice and try this diet, and maybe you can get onto kind of a similar path that I'm on, where you're creating content and, you know, going from being a consumer to a producer. That kind of switch might just require you to try some sort of extreme diet that's going to help to put your mind into that kind of mode where you can do that kind of work. So yeah, that's my rant over anyway on that, because it does piss me off a little bit. So, okay, now I'm going to show you a section of the video where I am cooking the lunch for the diet that I've just recommended to you, the kind of low carb to no carb diet. And yeah, I'm going to show you that video right now. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so now I am going to teach you what to eat to keep your brain healthy, keep you kind of focused, and this is the kind of stuff that I'm eating on self-improvement and have been eating for a while now, when like I'm wanting to like lock in and just be productive. So this isn't really like a good meal to have if you're like, your main goal is to lift like a shit ton of weights and build a shit ton of muscle. This is kind of like a good meal if you just want to focus and not have any kind of brain rot, and to, like, for me, like scripting videos, right? So like sitting down and actually scripting videos and then sitting down and recording videos. If I eat a big meal with a ton of carbs in right before doing something like that, I'm gonna be so slow, so tired. I'm not gonna feel up for doing it. So this is the kind of stuff that I eat, and I just wanna show you so you have no excuse on how I make it. So what is the actual first thing that you need to get ready? So pork, right? This is what I mean, pork, but you can also eat like steak or chicken or anything like that. And yeah, this is what I'm gonna make today. So I'm gonna have maybe, I don't know, 2 of these and then save 1 for later on. I'll probably just cook all of them though. So what I do is I go to the shops and this was like what, £4.20, and it's gonna do 2 meals. So like £2.10 per meal. It's not too bad. I don't know what that is in dollars, but it's not too bad. And I'm just gonna have this with some eggs. So no carbs, just eating meat, protein, eggs. And this is the kind of thing that I eat and have been eating for maybe like 2 months now, whilst I've been like really getting back into self-improvement and YouTube and like being productive and stuff. Oh yeah, so how am I actually cooking this? Well, you can use obviously like a pan. You can just put the pan on the fucking stove and cook it, but it's so much easier if you have an air fryer to just preheat this thing and to put the pork in the air fryer. And it takes like 20 minutes to cook all 3 of these. So right now I'm gonna just put some salt and pepper on them, and that's it. Just salt, pepper, pork in the air fryer, and then I'll get a pan and I shall cook myself some eggs. And you can see I've got a lot of eggs there. So that's it. Right now it is 1:30 in the afternoon. So I've been fasting all morning. Obviously, I don't know, because I'm recording this video like kind of first, so I don't know if I've talked about fasting already, but for me, the best way that I'm able to be like the most productive and actually feel up for doing this kind of thing, like pulling my phone out, recording, right, creating content and just being productive in general, is to fast. If I eat first thing in the morning, I'm fucked for the rest of the day. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll have like a really good workout because I've had 2 meals before my workout, so I'll have like a very productive workout and be able to lift a lot more weight and hit a lot more PRs. But I just fucking don't get anything done in the day, right? I go to the gym, I lift the weights, and that's it. That's all I do. And I don't get any content recorded, I don't create any videos, and I don't do anything. So this kind of way of eating, where I just don't eat in the morning and wait till about 1 o'clock to eat my first meal and it's just meat, that means that most of this afternoon I'll be able to record videos, I'll be able to script videos, like this big one that I'm doing now. I'm kind of recording this clip first for the video. To actually script that video, and it's going to be a big video, like with a lot of advice in it and stuff. And for me to do something like that, to sit down and script a really long ass video, means that if I eat carbs in that time frame, I'm going to be like have brain fog. I'm not going to be able to think clearly. I'm not going to be motivated. I'm just going to want to like sit and chill and maybe watch some YouTube videos or something like that. So yeah, this is the kind of diet that I would recommend that you just try, right? Because obviously, let me just put my phone over here because I'm sick of holding it, honestly. Actually, I'll put it on, I've got a little tripod here. Let me just put it on this fucking tripod. There we go. That's better. It's not straight. Fuck it. Yeah, like this, what was I saying? Yeah, so you obviously might not have tried this way of eating before, where you just eat meat and no carbs. But if you haven't tried it, then you can't blame it, or you can't like criticize it, right? Because you haven't tried it. And I was very skeptical of this kind of way of eating, right? Because throughout all of school, you kind of taught the food pyramid where like you need to eat oats and bread and vegetables and fruits, and then like meat should be like kind of a small part of your diet. Meat's kind of at the top of the pyramid, and then the very top is like sugar and things like that. But at the bottom of the pyramid, it's like vegetables, potatoes, just carbohydrates essentially, and like vegetables and things like that. And yeah, it's kind of upside down. I think that's kind of the totally wrong way to do things. If you actually want to like be focused and productive, or like not even just focused, but like to feel motivated enough to kind of do the work that you need to do and to be more productive, diet is such a huge aspect of that. And when you can basically reduce the amount of carbs that you eat and just eat meat, you are going to be so much more productive. Like if you look at this channel over the past couple of weeks, I've been posting pretty regularly on the channel. And before that, like during Christmas period, I didn't post anything, right? I was like just ghost silent for like a month or like 2 months, right? Because I was just kind of eating whatever the fuck I wanted. I was going out drinking. I was just enjoying myself, having a good time. And eating like that and doing whatever you want is not conducive to being productive. So yeah, this is what I've been eating recently, where I've just been like fasting, eating meat, and then like later on in the day, I'll have some carbs, whatever, right before I go to bed. But yeah, this has been the diet that has helped me the most. And on cue, the air fryer is now ready. So I'm gonna season this pork and I'll put it in the air fryer, and I'll just show you how I cook this. And it takes like 20 minutes to cook, so it's not too bad. Right, I'll show you how it's done. Oh, I need a knife. Can I get the knife without pulling? I've got a mic that I got for like, I don't know, £15 off Amazon. And it's on a wire. It's not a wireless mic because I'm just a very small YouTuber still. But yeah, it means that now I've got it plugged into my phone and I can't move around as much. I should have fucking seasoned this before I started recording, because now the air fryer is just kind of sat there waiting, right? Can I get the salt without, I think I'm all right. So yeah, pork, I'm gonna cook all of it. I'm not gonna have all of it now. I'm gonna have 2 of these, I think. I don't know how much protein's in this, honestly. I might be able to work it out at the end though, if I keep the packaging, if I remember to do that, and actually work out how much protein is in this. So I'm having 2/3 of it, right? And it will be 500 grams of pork, so maybe, I don't know. With the eggs, this will be over probably like 100 grams of protein, honestly, maybe more. So yeah, you don't have to worry about, like, on this diet, you don't have to worry about getting your protein goal, because you're gonna hit it either way, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to think about it. It's just one less thing to fucking think about. And that's a good point as well, you know. Keeping things fucking simple, man. Like, people overcomplicate the fuck out of this stuff with, like, you know, diet and biohacking. I'm like, what's the best diet to have? What's the best, like, productivity routine that I can do? What is the best weightlifting routine? What's the best split that I can do at the gym? And it's like, what is the best amount of protein that I need to hit to achieve a certain fucking, you know? And at the end of the day, it's like, it gets so complicated, it becomes like a whole full-time job to just do self-improvement. And I think that's why I fell off self-improvement, honestly, was because I was just fucking obsessing over getting everything perfect. And like with this kind of like way of eating and stuff, it's like, okay, I just come downstairs at 1 o'clock and I just eat meat and eggs. I don't have to think about the protein, and I know it's good for me and it's not gonna give me brain fog, and that's it, do you know what I mean? That's all you have to think about. I need a fucking, I use this. There we go. Yeah, it's just really fucking easy, man. And like, you can't go wrong with it. Now, obviously, if you're vegetarian or something, then I don't really know what to tell you, to be honest. Just like, good luck with everything, I guess. I mean, you know, I can't give you any advice, to be honest, if you're vegetarian, because I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not going to try and give you any advice. So yeah, just eat meat. I don't know. But yeah, if you are vegetarian, like, okay, fair. But this is not going to work for you. You may as well just click off the video. Realistically, this whole section isn't going to help you at all. But this is what I eat, and have been eating, honestly, a lot of pork. Like, why pork then specifically? Well, chicken is good. Don't get me wrong. But it's fucking expensive, at least where I live in the UK. Chicken is really expensive. Or at least I think it is. Like compared to pork, I feel like you get way more pork for what you, and it's like way cheaper, right? So I just get this. Like honestly, just do this the cheapest way possible. If you are going to do this diet, which I highly recommend you do, and I'm saying it's a diet, it's just a new way of eating, right? It's not like a diet that you do for a little bit and then kind of come off of it. It's like, if you just make it a rule, right? If you've got like big plans, you need to fucking work towards them. Like you just struggle with like working in general. I've run out of fucking pepper. Oh, it's okay, there's a little bit more. If you have like big plans and a lot of like work that you need to do, like a big workload, then you can just fucking, you need to just eat this kind of stuff, but then it's going to get very expensive. So just go for the cheapest stuff, man. And don't stress about getting it perfect, okay? Put this in the air fryer because it's all seasoned up now. Again, just salt and pepper, pretty easy. I'm going to cook all of these, and I'll probably have the other one. I could even have it for lunch. So yeah, I've been eating a lot of pork, and then what else do I, what's some other good meats that you can eat? Beef, right? So I've got some steak in the fridge. But I'm cooking the pork now because pork seems to go off way faster than like beef. So beef lasts a lot longer. So that's another tip I can give you, is beef will be, you'll be able to keep beef in your fridge a lot longer, so you can buy a lot more of it in one go. If you're gonna buy pork, it needs to be eaten relatively quickly, which is the only downside of it. And it does get a bit samey after a while, just eating fucking pork every day. But literally every day I've been eating pork. Because yeah, it's cheap, it's a white meat, so it's not got as much like cholesterol. But then again, cholesterol, I mean, fucking hell. You know, people are scared of cholesterol, but it's actually pretty good for you, I think, in just like, as long as you manage it. I don't really know too much about cholesterol, to be quite honest with you, but I do think it gets like way overblown on like how bad it is for you, you know. There was a study that I read once, I think it's quite pivotal in like hormones and stuff like that. You need cholesterol for testosterone and things like that. Yeah, it gets demonized a lot. So yeah, maybe not having like red meat every day and just having like some white meats. Like you could have fish as well. So yeah, I'm gonna cook this now. And what I'll do is I shall start cooking some eggs. I need to make a decision on whether I do some boiled eggs or like fry them in a pan. Okay, so I'm making some eggs, and I shall just put this here. I guess that's probably fine, right? Yeah, I'll put it there. So I'm going to use butter, not oil, because honestly, things like olive oil and rapeseed oil and sunflower oil are just so fucking bad for you. So just use butter. And if you have like, you know, people talk about like, is it ghee? Ghee butter and like tallow and stuff like that. Okay, that's all really cool, but I just don't have any, and it's probably way better for you than butter, honestly. But I just don't have any, so I'm not going to use it. So yeah, I'm going to let this heat up, and I'll maybe have like, I don't know, maybe like 5 eggs or something like that. I trained legs yesterday and they're pretty sore, so I probably do need the extra protein from the eggs. So yeah, I'll make them. I'm probably gonna just keep recording so that I don't have to restart my camera. Yeah, got really nothing to say. Let's talk about ketosis. So what is the main benefit of just eating meat? But if you did it, so like with me, I am fasting in the mornings, but then I'm eating just meat and protein for lunch. Like it's lunchtime now. It's just gone 20 to 2. But for tea, tonight, it's my last meal of the day, I'll realistically have some carbs. So it could be like pasta or something like that. So the reason that I do that, I have carbs on a night, is because one, I've done all the work in the day that I need to do. So I've like recorded a video, maybe I've scripted some videos, maybe I've worked on some other projects, and I've done everything I need to do. and carbs help me to go to sleep. So when I did, if you've been a long time subscriber, you remember like a year and a half ago, I did like a carnivore challenge for 1 week where I was just like pure carnivore for a week, didn't eat any carbs and got into ketosis. The one issue that I had with it, one of the biggest issues, was that I was struggling to sleep. And I can't exactly remember the reason why, but I remember I was listening to like an Andrew Huberman episode, and he was like, when you eat carbs, it can help to promote a certain chemical in your body that helps you to go to sleep. I think it's melatonin, something like that. And yeah, carbs are needed to sort of like for your body to synthesize that. And so when you go into ketosis, it can sometimes be really difficult to go to sleep. That is the only issue. So I'll probably have carbs at night just so I can sleep. And because let's face it, carbs are very tasty. And you know, but maybe for you, you might be okay. In which case, for your last meal of the day, maybe just try having meat as well. Honestly, like going carnivore, going keto is a fucking great diet. Like I say, I've done it. I'm not on keto at the moment, but I'm certainly, I guess I'm just being very careful about when I eat carbs and making sure that it's only at the end of the day. Because if I eat carbs midday, then I'm not getting any work done, or at least I can try and work, but it doesn't feel good, right? I don't feel productive. I don't feel like I want to work. It feels like a big task. Whereas when I'm just eating stuff like this, like, you know, I've got butter in the pan, I've got pork in the air fryer, I'm gonna put eggs in here, there's no carbs. It just feels so much like I can just record and create content or script and just feel more productive. So yeah, that is why I eat carbs on a night. And when you get into ketosis, that is where you are gonna lose a lot of weight. Because with ketosis, what happens is your body primarily runs off of glucose and your glycogen stores in your muscles. So when you go to the gym, if you've had carbs, you're gonna have a much better workout because you've got more glucose in your muscles and what's called the glycogen stores. And when you go into ketosis, your body stops running primarily off of glucose and starts running off of something called ketones. And that's because you're not providing your body with any sugars to create glucose with. And when your brain is running off of ketones, that is when you start to feel the effects of like being on a keto diet. Like you don't have the brain fog, you have more focus and things like that, and it feels good. And then as soon as you have any carbs, it puts you out of ketosis and back into kind of normal kind of, like your brain starts using glucose primarily for its fuel. So yeah, anyway, this pan's starting to bubble up, so I'm gonna start putting some eggs in here. Bought these eggs yesterday. Again, I only buy free range eggs, and that's not because like they're better for you, just because I really don't like the non-free range business model, the battery farmed chickens. It's pretty rough in it, do you know what I mean? It's not a nice thing. So I like to buy the free range eggs. They're a little bit more expensive, but even then, it's not insane. Yes, I'm just putting the shells on the worktop. It's fine. I'll clean it afterwards. So it's just salt today. So yeah, I'm gonna put some salt in the eggs. You'll notice I've salted the pork and the pepper and the eggs, sorry. And you kind of need to do that because otherwise your food's just gonna taste like arse. And a lot of people are quite scared of salt and sodium. But it's actually very, very key in keeping you hydrated. So provided that you drink a lot of water when you're having a lot of salt, salt is needed to keep you hydrated. In terms of keeping your electrolytes up, so there's 3 electrolytes. There is sodium, magnesium, and potassium. And the thing that people are most efficient in, I think, is magnesium, because it's quite difficult to get. I think you can get magnesium from nuts. Potassium you can get from meat and bananas and all sorts of stuff, and then sodium as well. So that's needed to kind of keep your neurons in your brain communicating with each other. The synapses in your neurons communicate via an electrical charge, and that electrical charge can only exist with sodium ions, so you need to have salt. Don't be too scared of putting salt on stuff, man. As long as you're drinking plenty of water with it, you'll be fine. So I'm gonna whisk this up. 4 eggs in there, salt, just whisk it together, that's it. I personally like to whisk it a lot with a fork, like very fast as well. You see there's like little bubbles forming. So there's like bubbles forming in the eggs, and like when there's bubbles forming, you know it's getting there because it makes it quite like fluffy and aerated, and it's like easier to flip, I think. So I'm gonna do that. There we go. Oh, fuck you know. This is all going wrong. Professional YouTuber, mate. All right, here we go. You just put all that in there. And start for best, really. So I saw a cool video, right? Talking about eggs being like the true superfood. And that actually makes sense because if you think about it, the yolk in eggs, eventually, if that egg is fertilized, the yolk actually turns into a chick, right? So the yolk literally has everything that is needed to create a brain. So when an egg is fertilized, the egg is actually creating a chick, the first thing that the yolk transforms into is the eyes and the brain, because the eyes are like part of the brain. So the yolk is literally got everything needed to create a brain. So if you just think of eggs like that, like you're eating brain material, like stuff that's needed to create brains, that is kind of just an easy way to understand without overcomplicating shit that, oh, well, eggs are obviously incredibly good for you because they're literally designed to create brains. There's nothing else that you can eat at all, I don't think. Like, you could eat as much meat as you want, as much pasta, as much rice, as much broccoli, but there's nothing that you can eat that is literally where the actual food you're eating is just designed to build brains, right? I don't know what kind of chemicals are actually in the yolk, or not chemicals, but like, not chemicals, fucking like molecules, right? I don't know what kind of molecules are in yolk that are like designed for a brain. It'll be some kind of specific kind of like amino acid or something. But yeah, just think of it like that, okay? So you need to eat a lot of eggs, a lot of meat, and no carbs. And that is gonna be the perfect way for you to stay focused, to stay motivated, and to actually want to work. And when you do work, you will work with more concentration, I guess, than like when you're on carbs. You know, when you eat like a big meal of carbs, like pasta or rice, and it's really nice, it's very tasty, but afterwards you're like, fuck me, like you just want to watch some YouTube or something and chill out. This kind of way of eating is going to avoid that. I guess we just wait, right? Oh, 7 minutes, fucking hell, that went by fast. Oh, they look all right, they're not done yet. It takes about 20 minutes for the pork to cook, and that's at 200 degrees in the air fryer on the grill setting. In a pan with pork, I would just put the pork in the pan, keep flipping it, and then just keep checking that it's all nice and, you know, gets like kind of golden browny. And what I like to do is the fat on the pork, the big fat cap, I like it when that goes like very caramelized, almost like, not hard like crackling, but like, you know, like crackling like the pork fat that all crisps up. Not like that, but it kind of gets like soft. I don't like it when it's all gristly and, you know, undercooked. And you need to be careful with pork, like seriously, like you need to cook it very well. It's kind of like chicken, like if you don't cook it enough, it can be very dangerous. So cook your fucking pork very well. I'm gonna turn this off now. So yeah, that's on 200 degrees in a pan, just keep flipping it, and then maybe like I just cut one piece and see if it's like white inside. Basically, if it's white inside, it's done. So yeah, I'm cooking this egg now. I put a lid over the pan, and that's just because it traps all the steam. So all the steam being generated from the water in the egg just helps to cook the top of the omelette, and you don't actually have to flip it. You can just cook the top of it whilst like just leaving the lid on. So that's an easy way to do it. You see all the steam coming out now, and that's actually like, honestly, mate, that's like pretty much cooked already. Like, how long was that? Like 5 minutes, if that. So yeah, eggs. It's so easy, isn't it? It's like, what the fuck? Like, people, you know, eating out and getting fast food and getting a McDonald's because they can't be arsed. I mean, it's like, fuck me. Just a little bit of effort and you can eat healthy. And, you know, I don't think people realize just how important what you put in your mouth is to how you're going to feel, how productive you're going to be, how motivated you're going to be to actually work and to, you know, I mean, you're on self-improvement. You got this far into the video. You know what you need to work on. You know what you've got to do. You know how important working is and being a hard worker. And so you need to just fuel your body right, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, why would you not want to fuel your body correctly? So that's actually quite loose there. That's quite nice. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty much done, honestly, mate. So I'm gonna get a little bowl out. Show you how this is done. I'm gonna try and keep this bit all unedited, by the way, because you can just see literally from start to finish, like how I make lunch, right? And this is like what I do. So you have no excuse. You can just do this. You can just copy me. You can literally have this section of the video on in your kitchen and just fucking do what I do. Except maybe you could do this a bit nicer. What is my secret to eating eggs every day and it not tasting like arse? This specific sauce that I get from Morrison's. Okay, now I'm gonna get the comments, right? Well, if you're on keto and carnivore diet, you can't have fucking red sauce on it, mate, because it's got fucking sugar in it. Mate, that's not gonna make me fucking go to sleep, do you know what I mean? Just to make it taste a little bit better, and you know, yes, okay, it's got a little bit of sugar in it, whatever, but the amount of additional like consistency, because you can just put that on your eggs and like just eat eggs and be happy with it, rather than thinking, fucking hell, like my life is shit because I'm just eating shit food all the time. Like me just putting that sauce on has made this gone from like a solid 3 out of 10 on the taste scale to actually being quite a nice thing to eat. So definitely worth it for the little bit of sugar. So yeah, maybe it was a massive lie when I said that I don't eat carbs midday, because it's like, okay, yeah, I've got some fucking spicy sauce on it, do you know what I mean? And I guess, you know, some people are going to comment and say, well, that's not keto, but you know, I guess I never said I was doing keto. I just said I was just eating mainly meat and protein with no carbs. For lunch anyway, you know, like I say. Right, I need to turn this pork over now, actually. I might try and show this to you. Whoa, I just put my tripod in the egg. Oh God, I've got an eggy tripod. That's what the pork's looking like. You can hear it. So that's kind of the colour you want to aim for. I just put the tripod in the fucking egg again. Oh, it's all a disaster. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to leave it in there for a bit longer, you know, because that fat is looking like it could render a little bit more. Okay, 2 more minutes should be fine. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show you. So, on this air fryer anyway, you can press So you can't press grill. Oh, you can there. So okay, grill. And maybe I'll put it in for another 3 minutes. It should be fine. So it's been in there for about 24 minutes then once that's done. So yeah, I'm gonna cook this pork. I'll chop it up and I'll save one of the pieces of pork. I'm just gonna put the pork on top of the eggs. Done. It'd have been cool to figure out how many calories is in all this. I guess I could work it out. Yeah, maybe I'll work that out and put it on the screen here. That's how many calories is in this meal. And that's what I've been having every day. So about between 4 and 5 eggs with 2 pieces of pork. And then sometimes it's beef. So, you know, I'll put some footage in maybe of me at the shops to show you like what to buy. Just keep it very simple, right? So got some of that. So I might have that tomorrow. Lasts a lot longer. That's just some steak. I won't cook steak in the air fryer because personally I think it ruins it. I quite like to do it in a pan and just fry it with butter. Again, same as we did with the eggs. Just put the steak in, keep turning it, right, salt, pepper, all that shit. Butter, just turn it until, you know, I do it for like maybe 7 minutes or something and have it, so I like it medium rare, or I try and get it medium rare anyway. Usually I'm able to get it medium rare, and that's all I'll have. So this pork is actually pretty much done. So what I'll do is get a little chopping board out and I shall chop the pork. So I need 1 more minute on the pork actually. It's got 1 more minute on the thing. So yeah, I don't know if I've got anything else to talk about regarding this diet. Yeah, if you are gonna go full keto, like, you know, for the whole, like for the whole day you're just gonna eat nothing but meat. You can do that, but it's gonna take you a few days to get into ketosis, where your body's gonna naturally use up all that glycogen and glucose that was left over from previous days of eating carbs and sugars and things. And then once your body gets into ketosis, you can check that you're in ketosis. You can buy like little kits on Amazon where you have to actually piss on like a piece of paper, and then that paper, if it's like a certain color, will tell you if you're in ketosis or not. I've never really done that. I've never done it because I kind of just went with my gut, right? Like if I was just eating meat and eggs and stuff for a prolonged period of time, I just assumed I was in ketosis. And you can tell when you're on ketosis because your brain is just on fire. Like you just like sharp as anything, you can focus, you don't have brain rot, you don't have brain fog, sorry. And you're just way more switched on and just feel better. I'd say I'm kind of like that a little bit now, like nowhere near as much as I was when I was doing full carnivore. But I would say that I'm sort of getting to that stage now, kind of like midway through that stage, because like I say, I've fasted all morning. I've not eaten anything yet. I've just had coffees and stuff. And now this is my first meal and it's just gone 2 o'clock as well. So I've got my pork. So that is the pork done. I shall show you this. Yeah. There we go. Cool. Oh, back in now. There we go. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Is it cooked is the main question. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Fairly soon it's cooked. Actually, you know, I'm not sure. Hang on. Oh yeah, hang on. Yeah, it's cooked. Yeah, it's the because the board that I've got it on is red. It's kind of like reflecting a little bit and kind of makes it look a bit like it's not cooked, but it's definitely cooked. Wow, look at that. Look at the fat. Whoa, that'd be so tasty. Yeah, if you put the pork in the air fryer like that for 25 minutes, I'll say, the fat's gonna render really nicely. See how the fat's all like golden on that pork? So I'm gonna have these 2 pieces. Oh, look at that piece, man. Look at that. Whoa. Oh God. Fucking dripping everywhere. Jesus. Looks fucking nice, honestly. Right, so I'm gonna get that on the knife. See if I can do this. Fuck it, come on. Please. Yes. Right, that's one. Oh, mate, that looks incredible. So I'm gonna go upstairs and eat this. And honestly, like when I eat food, this is the one thing that I'm sort of doing at the moment that I want to get better at. But I don't think it's a huge problem, but you're probably doing it as well. Well, I know you're doing it, mate. You don't have to lie to me. You're 100% doing this, where you take your food upstairs or wherever and you watch YouTube whilst you eat. What? Look at that. Get a little thumbnail. Oh, fucking hell, I can't be arsed. How easy was that? I've recorded for 31 minutes, but I was yapping away as well, do you know what I mean? So maybe 30 minutes out of your day to make that, and that's it. You just eat that, and then you have maybe that again later on with some carbs. So an hour total of your day cooking. You know, I'm not one of these rich influencers who lives in Dubai who can order food like this and get it delivered to me. And although that'd be nice, because I could have, like, in half an hour, I could have been working. Well, I guess I am working, right? I'm recording me making it, but most days, right, I'll just make it. I'm not recording myself making it. So I guess I could have done half an hour's worth of work just then. But, you know, to be honest, I actually quite enjoy doing the cooking, like, to actually make the food and, like, know what I'm making and stuff like that. I actually don't mind. It's quite, like, therapeutic. So yeah, if you just follow that, it's very easy to do. And yeah, I'm gonna go upstairs, eat this, and yeah, I'll see you in the next clip. But because this is the first clip that I'm recording of this long ass video, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about next because I've not finished scripting that video yet. So I'm gonna go upstairs, script it, eat that, script it, and then we'll get on to the next section, which might be to do with the gym or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, right. See you in a bit. Right, so I've got my lunch there that I've just cooked, that you've just watched me cook. So I'm going to eat this and I'm going to script a video. So I guess, what could I talk about? Right, fucking well, nice, mate. Mate, pork? Pork is literally, in my opinion, it's nicer than chicken, mate. Because it's cheaper and it just tastes nicer. Yeah, maybe there's more fucking fat in it. But you know what? This is something I'm going to talk about. Fat. So with all the fitness influencers online, you're probably eating right now kind of like a fitness influencer. So you're probably eating in a way where you're optimizing for gains at the gym. That's fine, but you can still build muscle without eating carbs all the time, like, and eating fat. So you can still build muscle with like a non-optimal fitness influencer diet where you're eating like chicken, broccoli and rice. So like this, what I'm eating now, it's just pork and egg, right? You've just watched me make it. That is not a optimal meal for the gym. So I'm not going to the gym today because I'm on a rest day. But if I was going to the gym today, I would be able to lift more weight if I had like potatoes with this or rice instead of like egg or something, right? I would 100% be able to lift my weight. But you got to ask yourself, why would you optimize to get as big as possible in the gym? Like, you can definitely still build muscle and be fit and healthy and get all the benefits from the gym, like the mental benefits and the benefits of like feeling good about yourself from going to the gym, without needing to optimize for muscle growth. Like, you can still build a little bit of muscle. Yeah, sure, I could build more muscle if I was to eat like a bodybuilder. But then I wouldn't be able to do any other work throughout the day. Like, I wouldn't be able to record this video. I wouldn't be able to script this big, long video. I've got another video that I need to record today that's going out tomorrow. Like, I've not recorded it yet. I wouldn't be able to record that video because I just wouldn't feel up for it. Or at least for me anyway. So yeah, I guess my advice is don't worry about optimizing your diet for muscle building, because that's probably the only times you've ever heard any diet advice when you're on self-improvement. It's people saying chicken, broccoli and rice, eggs, chicken and rice, or anything with just rice, right? Or like sweet potatoes, you're probably kind of doing that kind of thing. But try something really extreme, okay? Just try doing this where you just fucking eat meat and eggs and that's it. Like, just see how it makes you feel. I've just showed you how to make it. It's very easy to do. It's quite cost effective and it tastes really good. And it's very simple as well. Like, how many ingredients is there in this meal, right? Like, like a week or two ago, I made a meal about health and diet and stuff like that. And I was talking about keep everything really simple. So I compared it to like Occam's razor, right? The simplest solution is often the best. And I was saying to keep everything really simple and to have as little ingredients as possible when you're cooking your foods. And how many ingredients is there in this meal? Like, you've just watched me make it, right? So I guess all the ingredients in this, there is butter, pork, egg, and hot sauce, which, yeah, the hot sauce might have like quite a few ingredients in, but you get my point. Like, the overall ingredients in this meal is like, yeah, like 5 or 6 or something, right? Like, not many. Like, imagine how many ingredients there are in a McDonald's or like a meal deal from Tesco or something, right? Like, way more. So just keep everything super simple and don't overcomplicate it. I've found that when you keep it, the simpler the better, basically, when it comes to this kind of thing. So yeah, this is a really good kind of way of eating for mental clarity. Not also the gym and like fitness and losing fat. Like, you can lose a lot of fat on this diet, but more for like mental clarity. But I was talking about fat. So fat is something that a lot of people are very scared of. They think that fat is going to make them fat. Fat is super, super important for testosterone production and for your skin health, actually. So I suffer really badly with eczema, and I have done my whole life. And part of the reason I think that was happening because I went on like a very low to no fat diet. And 1, I felt like shit, and 2, my skin got really bad. And yeah, there's a big misconception about fat. If you can eat mono unsaturated fats, that's healthy, and all the saturated fats are bad for you. And the saturated fats are from things like donuts, like sugary foods and stuff, like chocolate and things. And then the monounsaturated fats are from things like the egg yolk and like this pork and stuff like that, like the fat that's on meat. It's actually good for you, and it's really beneficial for specifically testosterone production. Is like a lot of fat is needed in that, like a lot of lipids are needed to like build the testosterone and stuff. So don't be scared of fat. Don't be doing these low fat to no fat diets, because low fat diet is not going to make you lose fat. It's just calories in, calories out. And if you want to lose fat and you want to lose weight and like, you know, lose fat so that you can show off like the muscles that you built and stuff like that, and have like a bit of better looking body, more lean, then don't be scared of eating fats. The main thing you need to cut out at that point is honestly carbs and sugars. Like when I have been doing this diet where it's just mainly meats and stuff, the amount of weight that I lose is insane. A lot of that at the start is water weight, but actually because one of the other things, last thing I'll say, my food's getting cold, so I want to make this quick, but the last thing I'll say is when you're eating stuff like this where it's just meat and eggs, it's actually very filling. So all this pork will actually fill me up a lot more than meat, than like potatoes and rice would, because meat is actually the most satiating macronutrient. Like I should say protein is the most satiating macronutrient, and carbs and fats are not as satiating as protein. So when you can actually eat a lot of protein, you're going to get full quicker. And the best way to try this is you should try bulking on the carnivore diet. It is next to impossible to eat that much food. You just can't get it down. So yeah, you won't be tempted to eat as much food because you'll just be more full once you've had your meal. You combine that with fasting, you are 100% going to be able to retain quite a bit of the muscle that you built at the gym because you've mainly eaten protein and you're still going to the gym and training. And you will also lose quite a lot of fat. You'll lose a lot of water weight. You'll lose a lot of the glycogen stores in your muscles. So yes, you won't be able to lift as much, but yes, you're going to look better. And overall, it just seems like a way better diet to me than the chicken, broccoli and rice diet, which is a pain in the ass to maintain. It's boring. It's expensive. Oh, fucking hell. And yeah, it's just not the way to do it, I don't think. And you're going to have really bad brain fog. Again, it's what is your goal? Is it just to get as lean as possible and just to look the best you possibly can, like aesthetically? Or do you want to actually be like productive and actually work on like a business or something, right? Because the diet is, for me, it's more important to have my diet be conducive to business and to actually being able to sit down and do this kind of work that I'm doing now, which is what I'm able to do to create these kind of videos, right? To help people. So yeah, that is the sort of diet section, I guess, covered, or I guess the eating section. So yeah, there's not really much else I can think of to talk about in terms of that. I think, yeah, just give this a go, see how it works for you. Yeah, on to the next section. Are you still with me? If you're fucking still watching this far into the video, well done. You probably have a better attention span than 99.9% of humans on planet Earth right now. And you're clearly the type of person who takes this kind of stuff seriously and is kind of interested in this kind of stuff. And if you've enjoyed this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed and left a comment, because if you're this far in, you clearly, well, you mustn't hate the video. So anyway, yeah, I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. So now that you're here, well done. I'm going to talk about caffeine, because we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of diet and what you eat, you know, you are what you eat type of thing. But we've mainly talked about the food aspect. Now I'm going to talk about drinks and stuff like that. So caffeine, what are the do's and don'ts with caffeine? So one thing you need to keep in your mind constantly with caffeine is that it acts on something called the adenosine system. Now, not to get too much into detail, but it means that 90 minutes after waking up, within 90 minutes after you wake up, there's no point in drinking caffeine, because it basically won't do anything. It's not going to actually make you feel more awake, and it's just going to build up your tolerance to caffeine. So keep that in your head when thinking about when to drink caffeine, like coffee or tea, is just wait until you've been awake for 90 minutes already. Pretty simple one. Another good thing, another benefit of caffeine is it releases something called GLP-1. GLP-1, it stands for glucagon-like peptide, and it's basically, it just means that, you know, when we talked about fasting earlier on in the video and how I love fasting, it's like a cheat code to life. Well, caffeine and like drinking coffee and tea will massively help you to not feel too hungry when you're fasting. And it's what I do in the morning. So in the morning, all I do is drink like 2 or 3 coffees or maybe black tea. Again, you know, no milk, because milk and sugar in your coffee would count as calories, and actually you wouldn't be fasting at that point. Same with the tea, so it needs to be black. And yeah, it releases GLP-1, which basically your body sees it as kind of like food. It kind of like looks a bit like food to your body, but it's not, because it's like glucagon-like peptide. It kind of just looks like it. So it can actually satiate you and make you feel less hungry, which is a benefit. So it's good for like fat loss, because fasting does help with fat loss. Obviously, it promotes the body to go look for energy sources elsewhere other than your glycogen stores. So caffeine is a great tool to help you be more consistent and to fast for longer, which is great. One thing I'll say is avoid drinking energy drinks, because, well, all you have to do, I've talked about in this video before, like keep everything as simple as possible, simplest ingredients possible, the least amount of ingredients possible. And all you've got to do is look on the back of a Monster Energy or a Red Bull and see like 50 ingredients. Yeah, just avoid drinking that stuff. Also, it makes your breath stink like shit. I'm sorry to say it, mate, but the amount of people that I meet at work who are addicted to things like Monster Energy, and they are smelly people. Their breath smells, and I'm sorry, it just makes your breath smell. So yeah, I would recommend you just don't drink energy drinks. How are you going to get your caffeine then? I don't like coffee or black tea. I don't like black coffee. I would just fucking learn to like it, mate. If you drink, you know, coffee and tea for long enough, you will eventually start to like it. Trust me. So if you don't like it right now, my advice is just learn to like it, right? That is all I can say, because I don't know where else you're going to get caffeine from. You can get caffeine tablets, I guess. So you could maybe get, I think that's what Sam Sulek does actually, doesn't he? If you know who he is, he's like a weightlifter, YouTuber, bodybuilder. I think he actually has caffeine, he supplements it in tablet form. So you could try that. I've never tried it before though. So yeah, that is pretty much the caffeine stuff covered. That's all you really need to know about caffeine, I think. So yeah, it's a great tool, but only when used correctly. Caffeine does stay in your body for, I think it's about 5 hours after you've had it. So if you're gonna go to bed, don't have caffeine 5 hours before you go to sleep, because as we'll get onto later on in the video, we'll talk about sleep, or I'll talk about what helps me with sleep. Sleep is so important in your body and the way you feel and your testosterone production and everything like that. And it's gonna massively impact your motivation and your ability to take action on whatever it is that you're doing on self-improvement. So sleep's super important, so we don't want to be disturbing our sleep. So yeah, don't have caffeine within 5 hours before going to bed. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is hydration. And this is kind of the last thing that I need to talk about. Yeah, the last thing that I need to talk about in terms of nutrition and kind of diet and what you put in your mouth. So first thing you're going to do in the morning, and again, set an alarm for this on your phone. So when you usually wake up, set an alarm that goes off maybe like 15 or 20 minutes after you've woken up, that just says drink a pint of water. Every morning, this is what I've started doing now, because if you don't know if you're going to hit your hydration goal, if you can get a head start in the day by just drinking a pint of water, you're already like so much further ahead than most people. Most people don't even drink any water in the day, right? They just drink like juice and energy drinks and coffee, and they don't actually ever just drink water on its own. So yeah, drink water first thing in the morning. Second thing as well is just to drink more water. What's massively helped me is drinking sparkling water. Now, it is quite expensive to drink sparkling water all the time, but if you can drink sparkling water and buy it and drink that instead, that makes it so much easier to drink water, because it makes drinking water so much more interesting. And it just actually makes me personally want to drink water, because I really like sparkling water. I think it tastes great. The sugar-free version, because you can get some that have sugar in them. So I would definitely not get any that have sugar in them, because again, it's going to break the fast and it's not going to be good for you. So yeah, try sparkling water and see if that helps you to be more consistent with just drinking lots of water, because I think it makes it way more interesting to drink water if it's sparkling. But yeah, it's kind of expensive. That's the only issue with that. So there's, in terms of then electrolytes, there's 3 main electrolytes. You've got sodium. That's not how you spell sodium. You've got sodium, magnesium. I don't know if I've actually spelled that right or not. And then potassium. These are kind of not very easy words to spell. I think that's how you spell it. It doesn't really matter. You know what it means. Sodium, obviously, you're going to get from salt. Magnesium, you're going to get from nuts, fatty fishes and things like that. But most people, in terms of all these 3 electrolytes, are deficient in magnesium. Very rare that people are deficient in potassium, because you only need a very small quantity of potassium to have the right balance of electrolytes. And you can get it from really the same stuff you get magnesium from, but you really don't need a lot of it. So I wouldn't worry about potassium too much, honestly. But yeah, sodium is one thing. People are very scared of like salt and, you know, think it's gonna give them a heart attack and stuff like that, when in reality it's like saturated fats and sugar that is gonna give you a heart attack. Sodium is actually fine. You know, I'd salt when you're making your meat and your eggs, put salt in it, put a little flicker of salt on both sides of the meat and the eggs. Don't worry about it too much. And then magnesium, yeah, a lot of people should probably supplement magnesium. I was supplementing it for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, these are the 3 electrolytes, so at least you know what they are now if you didn't already, and where you can maybe get some of them from. But yeah, the key thing is drinking a lot of water, I think, honestly. Like if we're going to be real with ourselves, we can try and min-max all this stuff as much as possible. Like, have I got the right balance of electrolytes and all this kind of stuff? But it's like, if you just drink a lot of water and you put salt on your food and you eat, you know, meats and eggs and fish and kind of whole foods, then you're going to be fine, basically. So yeah, that is the entire nutrition section of this video done. So now I'm going to talk to you about the body in terms of movement, weightlifting, exercise, and that sort of thing. Now that you know what to eat, you know what to put in your mouth, you know how to make it, you know all the science behind it, you know how to hydrate yourself, you know when and when not to have caffeine. I've given you so much advice in this first section of the video, and it's all just about what to put in your mouth. So you can see now why this is going to be quite a long video, because it's going to literally give you everything that you need to know about self-improvement to begin with. So now we're going to talk about training, exercise, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll get into that. So the first thing I want you to understand is a sedentary life is going to be the biggest killer of people in general in our generation, right? Sitting down, not exercising, not going for a walk, not moving about, not lifting weights, not getting outside. That life of being sat inside on your phone, playing video games, watching films, at an office job, just being sat and not moving your body is going to be more detrimental to your health than smoking, drugs, alcohol, vaping, anything. It's going to be the worst thing you can do to your body. That's not me saying you should go out and drink and smoke and do all that kind of stuff and take drugs and then also go for a walk. No, obviously those things are bad as well, right? What I'm saying is that will be more detrimental to your health than if you were to do those other things. Genuinely, that's not even a joke. Sedentary life is linked heavily with obesity, heart attacks, cancers, everything. So just keep that in mind going into this next section of the video. Is we need to be moving, we need to be doing things, we need to be active people. That is such a key component of being on self-improvement. It's really step one after you've sorted your diet out is, okay, now that you're fueling your body correctly, we've got to actually move it. And the key thing with moving your body is because of dopamine, because dopamine is very heavily linked to what are called your motor neurons. So don't worry about motor neurons or what they are, but they're basically just like something in your body that makes you move. So like when I'm moving my hands and shit, it's motor neurons that do that. And dopamine is heavily linked with motor neurons. So there's like a science study that like figured it out somehow, right? Okay. And so yeah, when we move, when we go for a walk, when we go for a run, when we play sports, when we play football, when we lift weights at the gym, it makes us feel good. And it makes sense, right? Because whenever you've been, I'm sure you probably like understand and can kind of get that point, because like whenever you've been maybe feeling down or feeling a bit like, fucking, I don't know what to do, you know, you're just feeling a bit demotivated and maybe even a little bit depressed, you sometimes go for a walk and feel great afterwards. You know, you just need to clear your head. A lot of people say they need to go for a walk and clear their head and stuff like that. Well, that stuff's all really heavily linked to dopamine. So when I said that we need to change the mind with the body, with our actions, with what we do with our body, this is what I'm talking about, okay? The dopamine that's released from when you're doing an action and you're being active is gonna literally make you feel better, okay? So keep that in mind going forwards. So now I'm gonna talk to you about the gym. So when we're talking about the gym and you are a complete beginner with the gym, maybe you've never been to the gym, or maybe you're currently going, but kind of maybe not consistently, or you're not very good at the gym yet, you've only been going for a couple of months or something like that, I'm going to recommend that you just start off with doing a push-pull legs split. So that means that on, let's say, Monday, you're going to do chest, triceps, and shoulders. And then on Tuesday, you're going to do back. You're going to do pull on Tuesday. So you're going to do your back and your biceps. And I like to sometimes throw in abs on there, and then on Wednesday, you're going to do your legs. And that's where I'd usually put abs, actually. I usually do abs with my legs. And then on Thursday, you're going to have a rest day. So there you go. I've literally just given you a workout plan. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? Don't overcomplicate what is the best workout routine to do for the maximum muscle gains on self-improvement. If you can just do this, there's going to be so many more benefits other than just building muscle and getting a good physique that you are going to learn from just doing a simple split in the week like this. So what are the kind of things that you're going to learn through lifting weights at the gym? Well, lifting weights at the gym, a lot of people do it because they want to impress a girl, or they want to impress their friends, or they're scared that someone's going to start on them on a night out and fight them, okay, and they want to look big so that they're not going to get battered, okay? So that isn't the main reason why I think you should go to the gym. I think these are the best reasons why you should go to the gym. Because it is going to teach you a couple of things. It's going to teach you discipline. And discipline is a key skill that not a lot of guys have. And it's going to be needed for doing what I'm doing now. Today is a Friday. I'm not working today, and I've recently left my job. So I have nothing to do, right? It takes discipline to do something like this, because today I could have technically gone for a walk, gone to the gym, and then played some video games. But no, I've decided what would be better to do on my day off. I'm going to record a 3-hour self-improvement video, okay? That takes discipline. Now, I'm not saying that I've always been this disciplined person who can fucking get on with the hard work and do that kind of thing, right? It's because I've gone to the gym for 4 years now, and I've just learned slowly over time, building up muscle and trying to achieve a certain physique. I've just learned the skill of discipline. It takes discipline to turn up to the gym every day pretty much. Like, obviously your rest days you don't go, but to turn up to the gym every day and do a workout, even when like you don't feel up for it, that is slowly going to teach you discipline. And that is so important. And that again carries over into everything on self-improvement, from being disciplined about your diet, disciplined about when you're going to work, disciplined about when you're going to go out and drink and stuff like that, okay? It all stems from the gym. That's where you're actually going to learn that skill in practice. It's also going to teach you that you are irrelevant. So what do I mean by that? That sounds kind of harsh, right? I guess, like, you are irrelevant, but when you go to the gym, you're going to have, especially if you've never been before, you're going to have a lot of thoughts crop into your head, a lot of negative limiting beliefs telling you that people are going to stare at you, people are going to think you're weak, people are going to think you're skinny, you're going to get judged. And you'll go to the gym and you realize that no one cares about you. You're going to realize that no one looks at you. No one even speaks to you. No one's going to judge you if you fuck up on an exercise and do the exercise wrong. And this is a huge, huge benefit to especially guys who are insecure like me. I was very insecure about going to the gym. I used to be very skinny, kind of skinny fat. So I used to have a big gut that came out like a bit further out here, but then like really skinny arms, and just had like a terrible gamer physique, like a guy who just played GTA 5. I had that kind of physique, right? And I was very scared. I never went to the gym for a long time when I first started training. I actually trained from in my bedroom here with a pair of dumbbells, because there's a gym opposite my house, okay? That's the gym I go to now. So I literally cross the road and go to the gym, and I still came up with excuses that I couldn't go to that gym, even though it's opposite my house. I'm like, oh, it's too expensive, and I don't even need to go anyway. I've got all the equipment at home. Do you know what I mean? You tell yourself these excuses, and it really is just insecurities that your own like, I guess, self-image, right? The way you think of yourself. And when you go, you realize that you're irrelevant. And how does this cross over into other things in life? Like I said, the benefits of the gym go beyond the gym, right? When you realize that you're relevant, you realize that you're nothing special, okay? That you're not the special one who's got the hard life. It kind of opens up this like limiting, this limiting belief that you put over yourself, that you have it really hard and that you're kind of special in that, like, you know, you can never do it because of X, Y, and Z. It kind of gets rid of that barrier, and you can like, oh shit, okay, so I actually think I probably could become a really good YouTuber one day and actually make a really good video and make some money from YouTube, right? Because you'll be looking at other YouTubers now, if that's what you want to do, that's the kind of work you want to do. You'd be looking at them and think, well, yeah, that's cool, but I could never do that because I don't have that physique. So this is like what I told myself, okay? I'm looking at YouTubers like Mike Thurston, if you know who he is. And I'm like, you know what? I would love to do what he does and be a fitness influencer, but I could never do it because I don't have his physique. But when you realize that you're not special and that you're just like everyone else in the world, that is when you're like, oh shit, okay, so if he can do it, I can also do it, okay? It kind of gets rid of that limiting boundary that you've put on yourself, that I can't do it. I can't go to the gym because I'm skinny and I'm gonna get laughed at. It's like, no, people are in there that are skinnier than you. People are in there that are way fatter than you. People are in there who are way behind you. You know, you've just started the gym. There's people in there that are behind you, and you're doing better than them, and you've never been to the gym before. Do you know what I mean? It just releases you, and it just lets you see like the true, I guess, the truth of like life is that you're not special, and that actually all the people who have done this aren't special either, and anyone can do this, okay? And it just translates really nicely into the mindset thing. Again, what we do with our body, the actions we take is what's going to change our mindset, not the mind. You can't think your way out of this shit. You've got to go and do it, okay? To actually change your opinion on the world and your mindset. And lastly, it's going to teach you what hard work feels like. Okay, it's going to teach you what hard work feels like. So when you go to the gym, what I'd recommend you do is you train it to failure. What that means is you're going to push yourself. Each rep, you're going to go another rep, another rep, another rep until you cannot physiologically move the weight. Like your muscles, like you'll be on bench press and you're going up, and then the weight starts falling on your face and you kind of like, help, like that, okay? Maybe not like dangerous levels, but you know, you're going to go to failure, okay? And that is going to teach you what hard work feels like. Why? Because you're going to get to, let's say you're going to do bench press, okay? You're doing bench press. You might get 8 reps. So you're doing a set, you've got 8 reps, you know, it's 7, 8, and then you'll be like, your brain at 8 reps is going to be like, done. Good job, okay? But this is where the hard work comes in. You're going to go, well, I think I can probably get 10 reps. And this is where you're going to go for 10 reps. And this is where you enter a battle with your brain. So you're like in a battle with your brain, where you're trying, in your heart, you want to go for 10 reps and you're like, no, I can get 10. I know I can get 10. I can do 10. And your brain is going to convince you, no, 8's enough, 8's enough. And it's going to be this battle, and it's going to happen in a split second in your brain. It's just one decision of whether to carry on or to put the weights down and call it a day. And this little moment in time, this split second when you're doing each set, where you just decide that one decision, should I just go for 1 more or 2 more, when my brain is saying that that's enough, that is where you learn what hard work feels like. Like with me recording this video now, I'm recording a huge fucking video today. It's going to be a very big video. It's kind of like an experiment of mine. And I could finish recording this section of the video and say, well, I'll record the rest of it tomorrow, right? Or I could just try finish it today. And that split second decision of me is like where the hard work comes in. When your brain is convincing you that you've done enough and you've worked hard enough and like, good job, you've done, don't do any more, you're done. That's kind of like your brain coping. It's kind of like your brain being like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, okay? And it's like rewarding you saying, oh, you've done enough now, but it knows that you, it's just because it doesn't want to do it anymore. That fight that you go under in the gym translates over into life, into work, right? How far can you push yourself? How many extra reps can you get in the gym? How much more content can you record today? How much can you do that little bit extra work today? that where tomorrow you're just gonna be like, thank fuck I did that like video yesterday rather than today, right? So it's those little moments that is just gonna help you across your whole self-improvement journey. And again, it all gets trained in the gym. Like every single thing here, like discipline and learning, like facing your insecurities and realizing that you're not special, and doing hard work and showing up and just doing it anyway, even though you don't want to fucking go to the gym. All these stats is like leveling up your character if you were in a video game, okay? So like, let's say you're just like a GTA character, okay? And you're going to the gym and you're doing the reps, and like the bar next to your like strength stat and discipline stat and like hard work stat and grit stat and everything like that, all these like stats are like going up as you keep going to the gym. So you can literally level up your character in the gym, right? Whilst you're building your muscle, you're also building your character. Self-improvement is born in the gym. Most people that start their self-improvement journeys, they start it here, man. They start it in the gym. So when you go into the gym, don't just think about what is the best exercise to build my biceps the biggest they can possibly get. Why don't you just go and train your biceps, have the discipline to train them to failure, and why don't you just work on them really hard? Why don't you just think, you know what, I'm just gonna go to failure on my biceps and see if I can push myself each set. That's another bit of advice I'll give you. Progressive overload. So let me rub the board off and write that down. So progressive overload is basically where with each time you go to the gym, you're gonna lift a little bit more than last time. Either a little bit more weight or the same weight, but higher reps. So why is that important though? Well, what this is gonna teach you is this idea of incremental gains. So you're gonna be slowly increasing the weight and slowly increasing the reps with each workout that you do at the gym. And that's gonna slowly, the key word there being slowly, build up your muscles. And because it's slow and because it's painful and because it takes a lot of time and effort for very small gains, you are going to learn perseverance, determination, or in other words, grit. Okay, so this is the trait of being able to persevere with something, even though you maybe aren't seeing results. Maybe it's super small gains and you're not really feeling like you're getting anywhere with it, right? Because the gym, sometimes you just go and you go and you go and you go for months, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I've not even changed. I've not even built any muscle. And the reality is you will have made a little bit of muscle, but you won't even be able to notice it yet. And that is where you have to be, you know, determined to achieve the goal of building more muscle, and you have to just persevere and fight through it and be consistent. And that is all just grit. You know, the more you can do of those two, the more grit you have, okay? And learning these skills of perseverance, again, carries perfectly over to this. Like, look at what I'm doing now. I could record 100 videos. My next 100 videos on the channel might only gain me a few little bits of subscribers here and there. Like, if you're wanting to start a business or a YouTube channel or the gym, you can't expect to just put minimal work in and for like you to get lucky and just go viral. Yes, that happens to some people. Some people get lucky and they go viral and they achieve all the results of YouTube overnight, okay? And that's very lucky. And that isn't realistic. If you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, it would be so much better if you had this trait of like, okay, do you know what? I'm just gonna record 500 videos and I'm not even gonna be worried on whether I like build subscribers or get views or whatever, okay? I'm just gonna be determined to be a YouTuber and to do well with it. And I'm just gonna persevere and I'm just gonna discipline myself to just do the work, even if I'm not seeing any results from YouTube, okay? That's kind of like where I'm at with this YouTube channel. Like, a lot of people would say to me like, why are you still doing this YouTube channel if like you're barely growing in subscribers? Because it's the same as the gym, bro. Like, I can't just make a video and be like, I hope this one goes viral. I hope this is the one that goes viral finally, and then I can stop doing videos. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I just keep making them and I don't worry too much about how they perform, okay? That is kind of how you need to treat YouTube. And that is where I learned that. It was from the gym, okay? Imagine you go to the gym and you do one session. It's your first ever time at the gym and you just get lucky at the gym and you just like walk out with a six pack and a massive, like, do you know what I mean? Like, no. So again, progressive overload, the gym, it teaches you about how other things in life work. Building a body, building muscle is how you build a business. It's the same process. It's just perseverance, showing up, doing the work, and doing the work even though you're not getting any signals that it's even working, okay? You just keep going and keep being determined and don't give up. Like if you give up the gym, you're not gonna make muscle. If you give up with YouTube, you're never gonna get there, okay? You're definitely never gonna achieve, financial freedom from your self-improvement business that you're running. If you give up on it, you have to keep going with it. It takes perseverance, it takes grit, okay? And that is where you're gonna learn it. You're gonna learn it in the gym. That's the first place you're gonna learn it, okay? So you're gonna build your character, you're gonna build these traits in the gym, exercising, moving, being active, lifting weights. So that is the gym section covered. Okay, and the last thing I wanna talk about is just being active, and it doesn't necessarily need to be in the gym, okay? So I've talked about lifting weights mainly because that's what I like. But, being active, what could you do? You could walk, this is what I personally do, okay? So walking, I go for a walk every day, pretty much every day anyway. Obviously, if it's like really bad weather, I won't go for a walk. But walking every day, I've done that for the last 3 years. And you can do that. That is a great way to get your what's called steady state zone 2 cardio. So zone 2 cardio is this kind of cardio where you're not really going for it like sprinting on a treadmill, but you're also not just sat down doing nothing. It's kind of just walking basically, okay? So use zone 2 cardio. It's a great way to get that, which is great for your heart and stuff like that. And what do? I like to stack this on top of things. So like walking is like an active thing, right? It releases dopamine, it makes you feel good, you're outside, you get in the sunlight, whatever, which increases testosterone, does all that kind of stuff. But I like to stack other things on top of that. So when I go for a walk, I'll listen to a podcast or listen to a YouTube video from like Hamza or something, right? And try and learn whilst I'm on the walk. Like I'll just learn some new advice potentially, or some new information, maybe something that I could try for myself, some new insight. And I sometimes just get that from going on a walk because I'm listening to that podcast, and it's a great way, it's a great time, opportunity to actually to listen to a podcast or something like that. So that's what I personally do. It's kind of like habit stacking, it's called, I think, where my habit is I go for a walk and then I also like to listen to podcasts. Well, I can do them both at the same time. So it means that you're being killing two birds with one stone, being like more productive with that. Another thing that I like to do as well, I like learning new languages. Okay, this is a very recent development for me. It's not something I've done ever in my life before until maybe the last 5 months or so. And yeah, learning a new language, that's fun, right? At the moment, I'm learning to speak Russian, not because I want to go to Russia necessarily, but because it's a useful language in like Slavic countries, Eastern European countries that I want to visit. I'd love to go to like most of the Eastern European countries, to be honest. And this is a great language to learn if you just want to speak with anyone in all those countries, rather than having to learn Estonian and Latvian and Lithuanian and all those different languages separately. You could just learn like Russian and kind of get by on that. That's why I'm learning it. Not because I want to go to Russia, I just want to make that clear. So yeah, that's why I'm learning that language. But yeah, that's like a fun little task for me. It's like a random thing that I just decided to do one day because I really wanted to go traveling around those areas. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should learn a little bit of Russian, and kind of, so I'd be able to like, at least like order food and like ask for like a taxi and stuff like that, okay? So why would I recommend maybe learning a language or like learning some new skill that doesn't really directly correspond with like your business, your self-improvement thing, right? Sometimes it's good to actually put a bit of time learning something like a skill that you're not really going to use in your self-improvement journey, like learning how to draw, or like learning like a random language, or learning whatever you want, right? Just learning something that isn't always just about self-improvement. 2 reasons. One, because then self-improvement can become like all-encompassing, like every hour of the day, every moment of your life is just to do self-improvement. Like sometimes it's a bit like, fucking hell, can I do something else? You know what I mean? Because you're not playing video games, you're getting rid of all those bad habits. And it's like, what can I do then that's like, not self-improvement? Because sometimes you can get sick of it. And that's why I started doing that, because it's like, I have to learn a bit of Russian on the side whilst I'm doing the other self-improvement-y things that I do. That was kind of fun. And then the second more important reason I'd say is because it's gonna allow you to learn a very important skill which I'm going to get onto later on in the video when I get onto the mind section and the action section, which is going to be insanely important for you going forward. And this is the skill of being autodidactic, or autodidactism it's called. That's probably a new word for you. I'll write it down and I'll see if I can spell it even. Autodidactism. And what that means is it is the ability or the skill to learn things by yourself, or being self-taught. I imagine if you're watching this video, you're similar to me in that you're just maybe a dude or a girl who's living at home with your parents, or maybe you live on your own, but you're quite young and you don't have a huge amount of responsibility and you're kind of just a bit lost in life and you're on self-improvement and stuff, but you want to get better at it and you know that there's more to life than working behind a desk and working for someone else, and you kind of want to start doing all this kind of stuff. This skill of being able to learn anything yourself is going to be pivotal, right? Learning how to execute the movements at the gym properly through watching YouTube videos on it. Learning how to record YouTube videos, learning how to edit YouTube videos, learning how to upload them to YouTube, learning about like file types, learning about how to create a course and how to do all like the legal stuff, learning how to like do taxes and like do all your self-assessments for tax reasons and things like that, stuff that you don't get taught in school for some reason, okay? Without having to rely on other people to tell you how to do it. Basically the ability to go onto Google and to just learn something from the ground up by yourself because you want to learn it. And so me going for a walk and learning a bit of Russian randomly, yes, I'm trying to learn Russian for that reason of going traveling around Eastern Europe. That's like one of them, but it is also because it's almost like a way of upskilling myself in learning how to learn, right? As weird as that sounds, like learning how to teach myself something rather than having to be taught something. So yeah, this is what I do when I go for a walk. And obviously you don't have to go for a walk to be active. You can play sports, you can play football, you can go for a run, you can just go on the treadmill and do some cardio and maybe listen to a podcast there. But this is what I personally do. And I think there's some good advice here that's not really often talked about. I've never heard anyone talk about this word or trying to learn how to learn. That's something that I think the self-improvement space just hasn't talked about at all. But the actual ability to learn how to learn things by yourself. I have so many friends who want to do something. They want to get into PPC. Maybe they want to learn how to, I don't know, do this certain thing, whatever it is, right? They want to change their job role. And then the excuse that they come up with, that the reason why they've not done it is because they don't know how to do it. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. You have to learn how to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think it's weird for me because I've done so much like self-learning over the years on self-improvement. I've learned how to do so many different things that it's weird to me that if you didn't know how to do something, but you wanted to do it, you wouldn't first learn how to do it, right? It sounds really simple, but a lot of people don't have this ability of autodidactism. Autodidactism, that's how you say it. And they just assume that if you want to do something in life, you have to have been taught it at school or university. You don't need to have been taught something to know how to do it. You can learn it yourself. So start learning how to learn things by yourself. It's called upskilling, okay? So yeah, that is pretty much the exercise section done. So that's mainly the body section done, right? That's the whole first section of this video completed. Oh my God. So we've talked about diet. We've talked about food, we've talked about how to make food, I've shown you how to make food, I've talked about the gym, I've talked about all the benefits of the gym, I've talked about exercising, the benefits of exercising, habit stacking, I've talked about so much different stuff there. And that is just the first section of this video. If you are still watching at this point, incredible work, really great work, okay? Keep up this work. You're like watching a little self-improvement movie here. And by now you should have maybe 2 or 3 pages on your notepad full of notes and you writing all this stuff down, because otherwise you're not going to remember it. So yeah, well done for getting this point in the video. And now we're going to move on to, now that you've learned how to sort your body out, how to move and do, exercises and what to do to be active and stay active. You've sorted your diet out, you're putting the right sort of stuff in your mouth. Now we're going to move on to how you can utilize this newfound brain power and this newfound energy and motivation, and what you can actually do with it to change your mindset, because it's your mind that is going to cause you to do the actions needed to actually change your life on self-improvement. So yeah, let's go on to the next section of the video talking about the mind. I think everything's set up there. Interesting new sort of perspective from this side. So in this section of the video, I'm going to talk to you about mindset. Now that you've got through the first section where I've talked about how to improve your body, your health, fitness, and things like that, we can actually implant some kind of new mindsets. And this is kind of like, if you think about like a computer or your phone, this is like installing the apps on your phone and computer that are going to allow you to actually go ahead and do the actions that you need to change your life. This is like the section of the video where now you've got the hardware sorted, right? You've sorted out your body. We can actually go and install some new apps, install some new software into your brain that's going to allow you to make some real change in your life. And the first mindset that I want to talk to you about is by far the most important mindset that I have personally had, which has allowed me to, create this YouTube channel, to be excited to work on these YouTube videos, to be excited to script, and to be excited to just work and be productive rather than, sit around and laze about and kind of just do fuck all really. And that is going from a consumer to a producer. So this, I think, is the most important mindset to have. Now, when I say producer, I don't mean like you have to produce content on YouTube. It's just the most simple way that anyone pretty much in all of history has ever made any money. It's just producing something that is valuable to a group of people. So producing value into the world in exchange for money. This is the mindset that if you can really implant deep within your psychology is going to make the biggest difference in terms of your motivation and desire to actually chase the goals that you have on self-improvement. Going from someone who just consumes other people's value that they're providing to actually producing your own value. So the easiest way you can think of this is right now, you're watching this video, you're consuming my content, you're getting my advice. Now, I still think that you doing this and getting this far into the video is a better use of your time than consuming social media content, for example, or consuming pornography, or consuming, any kind of like brain rot content like in video games and stuff like that. Because even if you just take 2, 3, or 4 really key bits of advice from this video that genuinely help you going forwards, then this 3 or so hours that you spent potentially watching this video is going to be more valuable to you than the 3 or so hours that you would have spent, consuming other people's kind of brain rot, non-educational content that's just designed to spike your dopamine. So that is a good example you can use. You're consuming content right now, and I want you by the end of this video, or by the end of this section, to get to a mindset where you want to produce something of your own. Again, it doesn't have to be content. Content is a very easy way to be a producer, but producing something, so it could be a product or a service or just something that has value to a group of people, to an audience, and then you go ahead and produce that rather than just constantly consuming other producers' produce, right? If that makes sense. So that is the first mindset that I want you to download and install into your brain. And that is going to be hugely beneficial going forwards. You just need to produce something that has some value to an audience rather than spending all your time consuming value from other people. And now I want to talk to you about another app that you can install into your brain. And this is the idea that you need to combat limiting beliefs. So what are limiting beliefs? Well, a limiting belief is an idea that comes into your head that is telling you that you can't do something for whatever reason. It's your own brain convincing you that you can't do that thing that you really want to do. You can't go to the gym, you can't set up that business because you're not good enough, you don't know how to do it, you don't have the skill set, you're not attractive enough, you're not tall enough, you just were born to be not able to do that thing. And to give you a good example of this, like with this YouTube channel, I wanted to be a YouTuber for a long time. Even when I was like, I think 13 years old, like way back when I was in school, I actually created my first ever YouTube channel. I would love to be able to find it, but it's with like an old email address and I just can't find it. And it was a YouTube channel where I would create like time-lapse drawings. So it was like, you know, I'd have the paper and I would just have my phone on like a little tripod recording me, like drawing something. And then it was like a time lapse of that. So it was like literally filmed on my iPhone on like the time lapse setting on the camera roll. And I would just film me drawing like some random doodle and then it would like speed through it really fast, right? And I would just upload that to YouTube. And I still remember I uploaded a couple videos, obviously got like no views. And I actually got my sister to like watch the video over and over again and just keep watching it. And then me and her were like, oh, the views are going up on this video. That's really cool. And I was like getting excited because it was like, I got to like 20 views and it was literally like just a number that I like to see because it's like, oh, the views are going up. But it was literally just like me and my sister both like rewatching the same video that I'd made. And that was a long time ago. That was like over 10 years ago that I did that. But I've always had this thing in me of like, you know, I've always quite liked the idea of like creating content and then giving it to people and like getting views and stuff like that. So it all kind of stemmed from this idea of, I guess, like a social thing of like wanting to get views and stuff like that. But like deep down, I've always thought being a YouTuber would be a pretty cool job, right? Like, you know, you see your favorite YouTubers and they just like create videos. Maybe they're just playing video games and like screen recording them playing video games basically and doing like commentary over it. And you're like, that's a pretty cool job, right? Like they're getting paid like, I don't know, like $2 grand, $3 grand, $4 grand a month and they get like sponsors and stuff and they just get to do like whatever they want. And being a YouTuber is a pretty cool thing, right? That's a cool job. And I always thought that'd be a sick thing to do, but I never did it. Like, you know, with that drawing YouTube channel, it was like, I never had my face in it. I never spoke in it or anything like that. It was just literally a time lapse of me doing some random drawing. And I've always had this limiting belief that, you know, I wasn't able to do YouTube because either I'm not like attractive enough or maybe I'm not jacked enough, you know, to talk about the gym and talk about fitness. Maybe I can't speak, you know, I'm not a very good speaker. I always thought that like you needed to be very eloquent on YouTube and be able to speak very well just to be a YouTuber. And these are all like limiting beliefs, right? Like my own like insecurities and self-consciousness was stopping me from just pulling the camera out and just doing what I wanted to do. And it all ties in to this idea that I wanted to do YouTube and just learn and get better and better and better at it, like kind of how you do reps at the gym. Remember that section previously that I talked about where I talked about, you know, you don't go to the gym and magically you know, bench press 100 kg straight away. You're not magically going to gain the physique of your dreams from going to the gym for like one session. You have to keep putting in the reps and keep fucking working at the gym in order to get better and better at the gym and to get a better and better body. It takes a while to build up, right? And that is that sort of mindset and methodology I just applied to YouTube, and I just went for it, created my first bit of content on this channel like 2 years ago. And, you know, I have no idea what I was doing. I wasn't confident. I didn't think that it was going to be a good video, but I just pressed record anyway. I didn't even have a script. I didn't know what I was going to say. And I just went for it. And now I'm at like 270 videos on the channel. I've made a bunch more videos after that. And with each video, I've got like a little bit better at speaking on camera. I've got a little bit better at scripting. I've got a little bit better at like thumbnail design. I've got a little bit better at like understanding how YouTube works. So like with my audience, I've kind of noticed that like quite a lot of people or quite a lot of videos tend to get a lot of views if like the thumbnail doesn't actually have too much design in it. Like it's just kind of like a screenshot from the video. So I've tried that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like constantly trying new things, constantly getting a little bit better with each video that I make. And it's applying that mindset to whatever it is that you want to do to overcome those limiting beliefs that are telling you that you can't do that thing that you want to do for whatever reason. You just need to take those limiting beliefs and kind of ignore them. So you need to, like, your brain is going to be telling you, I can't do that thing. Like, I'm not good enough to do that thing. I'm not good enough for that job. I'm not good enough to be a content creator. I'm not good enough to go to the gym. And you need to take those thoughts and literally just fucking ignore them and be like, yeah, okay, fair. I'm not very good at those things now, but if I start and if I learn and if I like say to myself, I'm going to learn how to do that thing and put the reps in and just keep trying it and practicing it, I am going to progressively get better and better and better at it. It's kind of like how in that previous section, I talked about how the gym is so pivotal in teaching you so many mindsets, how like the things you do with your body and things you do in the gym really do translate over to how you start to think. And I talked about progressive overload and the idea that you can progressively overload your muscles in the gym to get them a little bit bigger each time and to lift a tiny bit more weight each kind of set that you go to do at the gym, each kind of workout that you have. You do a little bit extra than the previous workout. And it's that mindset that translates over to things like content creation or business or like learning a new language or anything. Like you just start, you do a little bit, you get a little bit better at it each time you do it. Each rep that you put in, you're going to just improve slowly, naturally over time through trial and error. And that is what I've done with YouTube, right? Because 270 videos, that's kind of like doing 270 reps at the gym of like a certain exercise, right? And yeah, I am not going to be as good of a YouTuber as someone who's done 1,000 videos because they've done, 700 videos more than I have. They're so much more experienced. They've been on YouTube for like 5, 6, 7 years. You can look at your favorite YouTuber now and you can compare yourself to them and be like, wow, they're so much better at speaking. They've got so many more ideas. Their editing is so much better. Their videos are so much more well structured. Like maybe you're a small YouTuber or something and you can be like, you're comparing your channel to theirs and like, why am I not as good as that YouTuber? Why am I not as confident to just sit down and kind of record a video like they are? But then you realize that they've been doing it for 6 years and they've posted 1,000 videos and you're comparing yourself to someone who has been doing this a long time, posted a lot of videos, and you've not even posted your first video yet, or maybe you've posted your first 10 videos. And it's like, yeah, of course you're not going to be as good as them. You've not put as many reps in, right? Like same as when you're at the gym and someone is lifting a lot of weight on like the bench press and you're like, wow, how are they lifting all that weight on the bench press? Like I could never do that. And it's like, you 100% could do that. You just need to be going to the gym for as long as they have. They've probably been going for 10 years. They've probably done 10,000 workouts and you've maybe done, 200 workouts or something and you've been going for 2 years. It's like, yeah, of course they're better than you on the bench press. They've been going for like 5, 6 times longer than you have. So just do what they've done and just keep going. Don't give up. Just keep trying, overcome the limiting beliefs and put the reps in. And those limiting beliefs that come into your head, again, it's just your brain coping. It's because you don't want to do it. Your brain would rather take the easy route and kind of just sit down, maybe watch some YouTube, maybe watch a film or something like that. And when you can overcome those limiting beliefs, because those thoughts that come into your brain that say you're not good enough to do it, like I say, it's just your brain coping, wanting to do something that's easier. When you can do the hard task instead of the easy task, you can overcome those limiting beliefs and actually go ahead and start doing the thing that you want to do. And yeah, you're not going to be very good at it in the beginning. You're not going to be very good on YouTube in the beginning. Your first video is going to get 0 views and it's going to be a terrible video. But guess what? When you've done 200 videos, it's going to be better. When you've done 400 videos, it's going to be better than the 200 videos. And when you've done 1,000, it's going to be better than the 400th video, right? You're going to get better at it. And this leads me on to my next bit of advice, which has been autodidactic, right? That's a phrase that I gave you in the previous section of the video when I was talking about the body, right? And it basically just means to self-learn. And this idea of being autodidactic can be applied to overcoming your limiting beliefs. Okay, so when you say things like, oh, I'm not good enough to be a YouTuber because I'm not very good on camera and I'm not very good at speaking, you can apply this mindset of being autodidactic where you say to yourself consciously, I am going to become great at learning new things and upskilling myself by myself. And I'm going to just learn how to be good on camera. I'm going to learn how to speak better on camera. And you take that methodology and apply it to the real world where you just say, I'm going to learn how to do it. If I don't know how to do it right now, I'm going to learn how to do it. So when I first started the YouTube channel, one of the limiting beliefs that I had was, well, I don't know how to edit videos. I've got no clue how to fucking edit videos, so I'm not going to become a YouTuber because I can't edit. And then when you apply this mindset, it becomes actually, I'm going to just learn how to edit. I'm going to watch a couple YouTube videos on it and learn the basics of like whatever editing software I use. And then I'm going to keep editing my videos and get a little bit better at it each time. And then all of a sudden, this limiting belief is gone because you don't have the ability to say to yourself that you don't know how to edit because you're just simply going to learn how to edit, right? That's one limiting belief that I had to overcome when it came to setting up this YouTube channel, among many other limiting beliefs. I don't know how to speak on camera because I'm going to learn how to speak on camera. I don't know how to set up a dropshipping website because I don't know how to market products on Facebook. Becomes I'm going to just learn how to do Facebook marketing, right? I'm going to learn Facebook ads. I'm just going to watch a few YouTube videos on it, maybe read some articles online on Reddit or something like that. And I'm just going to learn how to do it and kind of just wing it through trial and error, right? I'm going to try it. I'm probably going to fail at it. And then I'm going to try it again, fail again. And then I'm just going to get better each time. I'm going to put the reps in, like at the gym. You're just going to rep out that thing and you're going to learn it. I personally really want to go traveling around Eastern Europe, okay? And you might want to go traveling wherever, but you might have a limiting belief that says, oh, well, I don't want to go traveling there because I can't speak their language. I wouldn't know how to order a taxi. I wouldn't know how to order any food or anything like that. Okay, well, autodidactism, learn the language, okay? Learn the basics of the language. Go on YouTube and like watch some people who speak that language, teach you how to speak that language and learn a little bit about it, okay? That's what I'm personally doing. And then that means that you now don't have an excuse, right? That limiting belief is gone because you're just like, well, okay, that limiting belief is valid, but I'm just gonna learn it. I'm just gonna learn it and there you go, sorted, right? You can just learn anything. Like I've got a friend who really struggles with his job, right? He doesn't want to work at his current job and he's not wanted to work there for years. And he keeps coming to me every week, like when we meet up and stuff, with like another idea for a job that he wants to do. Like I think he wanted to be a firefighter and then he wants to get into like advertising and he's just trying anything, right, to get out of the job that he's in. But he often comes up with excuses like, oh, I don't know how to do it though, so I can't do it. And it's that mindset that most people have. Like you've probably got this kind of default mindset of like the normal ass person where you have like the default software app on your brain. That's just the I don't know. It's the I don't know app, right? Where you don't know how to do something. And I'm telling you, uninstall that app and replace it with the I'm just gonna fucking learn how to do it, okay? Like if you wanna do something and you have an idea for a job, or you see someone who's got a job and you're like, they're earning a decent amount of money and you know they do this certain thing, but I don't know how to do it, so I can't do that. It's like, just learn it, okay? Obviously this like isn't gonna take you like to the very end, right? If you want to do like engineering or something, it's like, okay, you could probably self-learn engineering a little bit, but realistically, you're probably gonna have to go to university to be taught by an engineer. This is kind of for like the basic things like marketing and YouTube and the things that most people want to end up doing, but just don't do because they just say, I don't know how to do it. And I'm telling you, uninstall that fucking app of I don't know and just apply this methodology of being able to learn anything and saying to yourself, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to learn how to do it. And basically what I've spoken about here can also be called growth mindset. This is essentially what growth mindset is. You'll hear a lot of people talking about that. And yeah, growth mindset is just that app, the app of autodidactism where you're just going to learn it. Okay, even if you don't know how, and you're going to overcome the self-limiting beliefs that you have in your brain that are telling you that you can't do something because you don't have the skills or you don't know how to do it. And you're going to overcome that and you're just going to learn how to do it anyway. So just say to yourself from now on, I am going to be a lifelong student, okay? You're never going to achieve the ultimate knowledge. You're not going to know everything, but you're going to make a promise to yourself that throughout your whole life from now on, you are going to constantly learn, you're going to constantly upskill yourself, and you're going to constantly try new things and learn and be autodidactic and have this growth mindset where you constantly want to learn new things, new skills that you can apply to whatever it is that you want to do. And even if you're already doing that thing, like for me with this YouTube channel, I technically have the skill of speaking on camera. Maybe it's not great skill, maybe I'm not great at that skill particularly, and that's the whole point, right? I'm going to continuously improve and continuously learn in my spare time how to speak better, how to present myself better, how to, I guess, convey ideas in a more eloquent way. That's a skill that's going to constantly improve when I just self-teach myself that, right? I'm going to learn how to do that, and I'm going to put the reps in and do it and actually apply the knowledge that I learn and get better each time with each video so that I can constantly improve. That is growth mindset. That is autodidactism. That is saying to yourself that I will just learn it anyway, and I'm gonna, for the rest of my life, just keep learning and keep getting better at whatever it is that I'm doing. And this leads me on to the next mindset or the next app that you need to install, and it's called Kaizen. Okay, so this is a Japanese, I believe it's a Japanese term in business, but it basically just means to improve yourself every day. And there's a famous quote that I can't remember where it's from, but I used to say it on this channel all the time. It used to be like my catchphrase at the end of the videos. I don't do it anymore, but it's improve yourself by 1% every day. And that is the idea that with each thing you're going to do, you're just going to try and get 1% better at it every day. And then over, I think it's a year, it compounds into like a certain, I can't even remember, right? But it's like 100% more better at something, right? In practice, it doesn't really work like that. But the point is, the idea is there, okay? It's just improve, okay? Just keep getting better at whatever it is that you're doing. So this means, again, I'm going to compare it to this YouTube channel. Whenever I record a video, I just look at the previous couple of videos I've made and just think, how can I make it better? So with this video, I'm trying something new, like kind of an experiment to keep your attention for this amount of time and to see, weed out the people who aren't serious, who are going to click off this section of the video and go scroll through social media, and then just have you sticking around throughout the whole video, someone who's serious and someone who's like willing to put in this many hours into learning and to upskilling themselves. That's kind of like an experiment for me. And that's kind of, in practice, me trying to get 1% or maybe a certain percentage better every day at what I want to do, right? Hopefully this video is 1% better than every other video that I've made on the channel so far. And I can keep improving on each video that I make by doing that. Okay, so another app that I want you to install into your brain is the idea that comfort is the killer of growth. So we've talked quite a bit in this section of the video about growth mindset, growing your skills, growing yourself as a person. And the idea of comfort being the killer of growth is that when you're very comfortable and you have a very comfortable existence, it stops you from being able to grow. There's an idea that I want to give to you, which you probably haven't heard of before, called region beta. And this is, if you think of like a region in your life, region beta, it's where your life would improve if your life was worse. And that's going to sound counterintuitive, but let's say you have a job, and this is kind of the situation that I'm in, right? Let's say you have a job and you don't like that job. You don't like doing the thing in that job, but it pays really well. And the staff members that you work with, your co-workers, are all nice people. You get on with them, most of them. Maybe some of them you don't get on with, but most of them you get on with. And so, the commute to work is maybe like 30 minutes. It could be worse, but it's also not great. It's kind of just this middle ground where like your job is okay, like it's all right. It pays the bills. You don't really want to do it. You work with people and they're okay, but you don't really have that much in common with them because you're kind of the kind of person who wants to do something like this and record content and go do something a bit more businessy and a bit more entrepreneurial. You want to kind of have time freedom, location freedom. So you can't really relate to them because they may be a bit older than you and they're kind of situated there. They rely on getting paid from that job and things like that. And you're in this region beta where if your circumstances were much worse, it would actually force change. Because you're kind of in this comfort zone where things are okay, you don't really have the motivation to go and make a difference and go and make a change in your life. Whereas let's say you were in that same scenario, you're in this job and it pays well, but you don't really like it, but your boss was horrible to you. Like your boss was abusive, like verbally abusive to you, to the point where you were super stressed. They were constantly shouting at you, get this done, fucking meet this deadline. Why hasn't this been done yet? And they were really aggressive with it and didn't give you good advice. Didn't tell you to do this thing in a very nice way or anything like that, right? And it's a lot worse than the first circumstance. That might take you out of region beta, below region beta, to the point where you're like, fuck, I'm just going to leave my job. I hate it here. Do you know what I mean? That actually might be better because it would force change. Does that make sense? Like if your circumstances in that job were worse, it would force action. It would drive action. And this is where this idea of comfort is the killer of growth comes into, because when you're comfortable and things are just okay, you're kind of comfortable, there's nothing driving action. There's nothing to drive change. And change is sometimes a thing that needs to happen in your life for growth to occur, right? To actually learn a new skill and try something new and discover a new calling in your life requires change. So for me, my example of this is I've been working at the company that I'm currently at, that I've recently left, right? I mean, I'm leaving at the end of February. It's like the end of January now. It's January the 25th now. And I'm leaving basically in a month, right? And I've been working at this job for 4 years, and it's just kind of like an okay job, okay? It has a really good salary, so I get paid good for my age, The work itself is pretty boring. I don't enjoy the work I do. I hate going to client meetings. I don't like going to client meetings at all. My co-workers are all okay. I get on with pretty much everyone except for a couple people, and it's just okay, right? It's just a pretty boring, pretty basic job that just pays the bills. And I've been in this comfort zone for 4 years. And what's happened? I've created a YouTube channel, but it's kind of grown very slowly, okay? And I've kind of been on and off with self-improvement. There've been some months where I've been really on self-improvement, creating loads of content, being super productive, having a good time, feeling good about myself. And there's been other sections of my life whilst I've been in this job where I've kind of just been getting paid, going out at the weekend, getting really drunk, taking drugs, having a good time. And it's just like this comfort, right? That it's not conducive to being consistent or hungry or productive and driven, right? And so what have I done? I've made the decision after all this time to finally change and to leave my job. But for that to happen, there had to be some things happen in the job that actually forced change. So for me, a bunch of people that I was friends with at work got made redundant, okay? So they've basically been fired, okay? Because there's not enough work for them to do. So like 3 people have been made redundant, let go from my job that I work at. And that means now there's not as many people to like speak to, and it doesn't really have the same atmosphere in the office, and it feels a bit kind of shit there, right? And that was one of the aspects that took me out of region beta and finally made me think, fuck, I might just leave, And it was that has made me want to leave. And I bet for those of you who are still watching at this section of the video, you're probably in that region beta where life isn't terrible, but it's also not where you want it to be. You're just kind of in the middle where it's just kind of okay. You have good weekends, you go out, you get drunk, you have a good time with your friends, you go to the gym maybe after work, and you're kind of making some progress at the gym, and things are just okay. And you're kind of living that average life where you're just stuck in region beta. And just know that that comfort that you're in right now, you can stay there for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 years. This is how people end up being in their 50s and 60s, just working the same job for their whole life and just going on the occasional 2-week holiday every year, because it's just kind of comfortable. And if you want to escape that comfort, things need to get worse before they get better. So understand that you are not going to be able to stay in comfort and set up some business on the side. You might be able to do it if you're like a different breed, but most guys, if you're anything like me and you're just kind of an average Joe, you're not going to be able to set up like a YouTube channel or a business on the side whilst you're still working, and for that business or YouTube channel to do really well. Or at least you can't expect to put all your time and effort and energy into that thing, into that project, that passion, because you're putting all your time and energy into the comfort, into the job, right? And you actually need things to get worse so that you can drive, so that you have enough drive to actually create action, right? To drive action and for you to make a difference. So how do you make things worse? Well, for me, it was leaving that job. And now when I leave, I'm not going to have any money coming in, okay? I'm not going to be getting paid. So now I'm going to be very driven to be like, shit, I need to really be serious about YouTube now, or really be serious about some other business thing, right? I need to work harder. If anything, I'm going to have to work harder now than when I was just working at this office from 9 to 5, okay? And when you can put yourself into that situation where things are a bit risky, it feels a bit, oh, fucking hell, this isn't very comfortable anymore. I'm not getting paid anymore. Like, where's my money going to come from? It's that area of your life where you're in that kind of risk zone that's going to drive the growth, because you're going to be driven to actually take action and make a difference. Okay, so the next mindset that I want to instill into your brain, or should I say install into your brain, is that good shit sticks. So this was a quote that I heard from, I believe it was the guy who wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, and I can't remember his name, but the guy who wrote the 4-Hour Work Week. I was listening to a podcast that he was on, and he just said the good shit sticks. And basically what it means is it's a mindset of, if you put enough content out there, if you do enough work, if you do enough of the thing, eventually something will work, okay? So it's like an antiviral mindset. So a lot of people want to do something and for it to be easy and for them to get all the results straight away. That in reality is not what happens. In reality, When you see someone who goes viral, or a video that they've made does really well, or a business that they've created suddenly takes off and they become a millionaire like very fast, like all these kind of business success stories that you hear about, what you don't hear about with the business success story or the YouTuber who went viral and suddenly overnight got like 10,000 subscribers, what you don't hear about is the 500, 1,000, whatever videos that they made before the one that went viral. You don't hear about the businessman who already set up 4 or 5 businesses and they all failed before his 6th business actually took off and did well. You don't hear about the trial and error that went into that thing going viral. And this is that idea of the good shit sticks. So if you throw enough shit at the wall, eventually something's going to stick. But that thing that sticks, yes, that's the success part of it. That's the thing that you want. But you need to not focus on like, oh, this is the video that'll go viral, or this is the business that's finally going to work. Rather than focusing on that, just think about putting the effort in, putting the work in, and eventually something will work. It's the other things that you do. It's all the stuff that fails, all the stuff that you tried and didn't work, all the work that you did that seemed to get nothing out for you. It's that work that eventually builds up to something eventually working. So have this mindset from the get-go. Don't have a mindset where you think that you're just going to be able to put minimal work in and the first thing that you do, the first video that you make, the first business that you start is just going to work, okay? Don't think of it like that. Think of it as like, I'm going to work on for the next couple of years doing this project that I'm working on, and it's going to fail, right? And, it's going to fail multiple times. All these videos that I make are all going to fail, or not fail, but they're not going to be viral. They're not going to get loads of views. I'm not going to be able to build up the channel overnight. And if you come at things with this kind of mindset that just something will eventually work and you're just going to keep working at it no matter what until something works, then that is going to drive persistence. It's going to drive consistency, because you're not just hoping every time you do some work that it's just going to become viral overnight, right? You're actually willing to put the work in to know that you need to throw enough stuff at the wall for eventually something to work. Does that make sense? It's kind of just a mindset shift from wanting it the easy way to actually be willing to put in the hard work that's required for something to work eventually. And the final mindset that I want to teach you about is the mindset or the mind knowledge of dopamine and how dopamine works. So there's so many guys who just fucking don't understand how dopamine works. And it's like, once you can understand the inner workings of dopamine and the relationship of dopamine and how that affects your actions, because actions is what I'm going to talk about next. When you understand it, it becomes so much easier to not do the bad habits and to do the good habits. So the next app I'm installing into your brain is the dopamine tracker, I guess you could say, okay? So dopamine is, you can imagine it like a swimming pool, okay? So right now, when you're first born, I should say, your swimming pool is full to the brim of dopamine. And then when you do something that is pleasurable, that you desire to do, that you just can't resist yourself from doing, right? You're going to watch some porn, or you're going to maybe go and play some video games, okay? You're going to go scroll through social media and doom scroll for a little bit through Instagram or TikTok or something. That creates a wave in the pool, right? A big spike in dopamine, an increase in dopamine. And it's this, dopamine is the hormone of motivation. So right before you want to go play a video game, or right before you're going to go watch some porn, you'll get a big spike in dopamine. That's your brain being like, oh yes, here we go, we're going to go watch some porn, this is going to be really fun, okay? And the big spike in dopamine happens, and then when you actually do the thing, right, play video games, doom scroll, the dopamine goes really high, and then it crashes down like a wave, okay, in the swimming pool. And this big wave splashes outwards, and all the water that's in the swimming pool, or a lot of it, goes over the sides and out. Okay, the water's gone forever. So what happens to the swimming pool? Well, the level of the swimming pool drops like that, okay? The level of dopamine, your overall dopamine, drops when there's a big spike. And then what happens? So when your dopamine is a bit lower, you start to feel a bit down, okay? So do you remember when you've busted a nut after watching some porn, you kind of have the post-nut clarity, right? That is your swimming pool gone a bit lower. You feel a bit down, you feel a bit like empty and flat afterwards. That is your big dopamine thing coming down, splash, and then the pool going down, okay? So then what do? Well, you start to feel a bit down, so you think, maybe I'm just going to scroll through, you're already on your phone anyway, right? So you're going to scroll through social media for a bit, and and I say for a bit, for an hour or something like that, maybe you're gonna watch some YouTube, have a bit of fun, just chill. You're gonna have some chill time. Again, that's little splashes in the pool, water coming over the sides. Each funny meme that you see, each little, nose breath of laughter that you have from seeing some mildly funny video on TikTok, each of those is like a little splash in the pool and a little bit of water trickling out each time. And the level of the pool is just slowly throughout the day going down and down and down until you feel like shit. And when people constantly throughout the day spike their dopamine just with doing fun things, right? Throughout the whole day, some dudes just wake up, they go onto their PS5 or whatever and they play video games, and then they go through their phone, they watch some TikTok, and then they go meet their friends and they have a few drinks on a night, okay? They're constantly spiking the dopamine. When you do this, it just gets your pool down and down and down and down. And then the next day, their pool is already very much empty and they're just trying anything they can to just increase their dopamine levels temporarily until it comes crashing back down again. This is how people end up becoming depressed, because they're just, I guess, spiking the dopamine so much with easily accessible dopamine that's not required any work to get. And they don't have anything to counterbalance just all of the things that they're doing to artificially increase their dopamine. This is how drug addicts become addicted to heroin and stuff like that, right? Because the heroin that they take has such a big spike in dopamine, like unlike anything, right? More than porn, more than video games or anything that we can think of, right? Heroin is like fucking huge wave, like a tsunami in the pool, right? And then when they do that, they feel so good. They're on cloud nine, right? Amazing. It comes crashing down and all the water comes out of the pool. And then like every day they have to use some heroin just to get that big spike again. But when they're not using heroin and then don't have that spike, their pool is empty, bone dry, no water in there, and they feel like shit. This is how people become depressed. This is how people become dependent on dopamine, right? This is why people get hooked on social media, because they depend on it just for that spike in dopamine. They need to get onto social media and into their feed they just do it automatically, right? And it's because you are just addicted to this spike in dopamine. So how do we recover this, okay? Because you're probably watching this while thinking, great, my pool's empty. I feel like shit all the time and I constantly have to play video games to feel good, right? How do we recover this? Well, it's simple. You need to go on what's called a dopamine detox. And this is where, almost like alcohol, right? When you're drinking constantly or like very regularly throughout the week, and then you stop drinking for a bit, you go on a detox, it's called. When you can restrain from doing fun things like chill things that you enjoy doing, like playing video games and that kind of easily accessible dopamine, when you can restrain yourself from doing that for like a week or 2 weeks, that swimming pool is naturally just going to rise up again, and your background, it's called baseline dopamine, is just going to naturally come back up to baseline, okay? And that is the only way to do it, right? How do we do this? We just need to stop doing the bad habits, right? Watching porn or spending hours a day scrolling through social media. It's not a complex tip that I'm giving you here, okay? It's not some big weird like routine that you need to do to fix your dopamine. It's just wake up and maybe go for a walk and go to the gym and just try and not go on your phone. Don't watch porn, right? Go on NoFap, something like that. Don't play video games. Take your video games console and just put it in your cupboard or something, like lock and shut your cupboard, and then put something in front of the cupboard so that you aren't tempted to go get it. It's just restraining from doing the easily accessible dopamine habits. And when you can do that for even just a couple of days, you're naturally going to start feeling better. But for me, the best bit of advice that I can give you that's really helped me with this is having something else to do other than scrolling through your phone or playing video games, right? And for me, this is this YouTube channel, okay? I can work on these videos, I can script videos, I can maybe watch some YouTubers talking about how to speak better on camera or give me some ideas for videos. I can go for a walk and listen to podcasts to come up with some new ideas for videos. All that kind of stuff is work, and all that kind of stuff takes up time in the day where if I'm doing that instead, like I'm recording this video now, then I'm not on social media, I'm not playing video games, I'm not doing any of that stuff, right? I'm doing this instead. So the best bit of advice I can give you is just replace the task, right? Replace the bad habit with a good habit, okay? The gym, meditation, doing yoga, doing stretches, going for a walk, get into running, maybe start boxing or something, right? Just do something, anything other than just sitting in your bed and scrolling through social media. It's not fucking complicated, okay? Dopamine detox gets so overcomplicated, and it's just like, no, just do something else that isn't the fucking things that you had been doing every day. Because right now, all you're doing every day is spiking your dopamine and doing fun stuff, trying to feel that high again of when you first played a video game or when you first went on social media. But you're not happy, right? You're this far into the video. You must want to change your life. You must want to do something to have a better time than you're currently having. And that's my advice. Just replace it with a business, replace it with work, replace it with being productive. And that is how you are going to start to feel better. And that is how you're not going to need to rely on playing video games to have fun. You can do this. You can record a video and have fun doing it, okay? I'm kind of having a bit of fun recording this video, okay? Not obviously, me recording this video isn't as fun as if I was to I don't know, go hop on GTA or something, okay? I'd probably have more fun doing that realistically, but I don't want to, because if I hop on GTA now, I'll probably want to play it tomorrow as well. Do you know what I mean? I'll struggle to get out of that habit, and I've been out of that habit for so long now, I don't want to do it again. I'd rather do this, okay? Even though conventionally it's not as fun as just a dopamine spike, it's just work, and it kind of makes me feel productive, and it makes me feel good recording this video. So just replace it, okay? And in the next step of this video, in the next section of this video, I should say, I'm going to talk about action. I'm going to talk about work and the actual actionable steps on what you could do to be productive and how you decide what business to start and stuff like that. So stick around for that section of the video. But yeah, I really want to drill this point home. Hopefully you understand now how dopamine works. And now that you understand how it works, the physical functions of dopamine, maybe you can start to identify some of the things that you're doing in the day that could be causing those big waves in your dopamine pool, and how you can either just stop doing them or replacing those things that are creating those big waves with maybe something more productive and something more wholesome, something more healthy. And yeah, that should be the best way that you can actually, start to restore your dopamine levels again. Okay, so well done for getting this far into the video. If you are at this point in section 3 of this video, then you have the top 99.99999 percentile best fucking attention span of probably anyone in your school or in your work or among your friends, okay? You have some serious fucking good attention span if you've got this far into the video. And in this section of the video, I'm going to talk about action, and because we've talked about the body and how that's going to influence how we think and how we feel. And I've talked about the mindsets, right? We've installed those new apps into your brain, the new way that you need to start thinking about things. And now we're going to talk about action. How can we actually go and implement the stuff that you have learned in this video and actually go and make a tangible, actionable difference in your life? Because inaction is the slow death, and nothing will change in your life if you don't actually make a change, okay? Nothing changes if nothing changes. So now that we have our mind ready, we have our body ready, we need to actually take action on it. This video will not help you if you don't go and actually take action on the things that I've taught you. So what is it that you actually want to put your time and energy into, your heart and soul into? What do you want to pour all of your productivity and work into? Well, it's clearly not video games or porn or social media, because you've already got this far into this long ass video. So you're clearly a different kind of person from your friends and your family, where you actually want to make a big difference in your life if you're willing to put this much time into a video that's just designed to help you have a better life. So what are you going to put your time and energy into? And the first place that you need to start with is just asking yourself, what would you do for free for the rest of your life, okay? What tasks would you be happy to do in the day, even if you didn't get paid anything for it? Because the one thing that you need to understand when you start to put your time and energy into a project, like a YouTube channel or a business, it could be like SMMA or dropshipping or something like that, is that you aren't going to get results straight away. You're going to have to work on this business and work on content creation without any reward. You're going to have to understand this concept of rewardlessness, okay? Working at something even though you're not getting any tangible results. So you need to understand this concept from the get-go, and you need to just think, what would you be happy doing anyway? Don't think about the reward. Don't think about subscribers. Don't think about getting paid. Don't think about making sales on your website. Just think, I'm just doing this task because I kind of find it quite fun anyway, and I'm not necessarily worried about getting paid from it straight away. The perfect example for this from my experience is YouTube. I've done dropshipping, I've done SMMA before, but YouTube is the one thing that I've done for like way longer than like SMMA or dropshipping, right? It's the one thing I've done for 2 years now. And when I first started out, I got no results, okay? Each video I created got like 2 or 3, maybe 10 views if I got lucky, okay? And you have to put the same amount of effort into those early day videos as you do the videos later on, except for videos like this where I've spent like 3 days making it, okay? But you do have to put the same amount of effort into each video, even though some videos are gonna get 10 views and some videos are gonna get thousands of views. The video that I made on this channel about Hamza, that went sort of semi-viral because it was like about Hamza at the time and like it was kind of a hot topic. But that video took me the same amount of time to create as any of my other videos on this channel. But that video got like 100,000 views, and most videos on my channel get between like, I don't know, 50 and 100 views or something like that. So you have to understand this concept of doing the work, because you need to do the work, even though you might not get any reward from doing that work initially. So just ask yourself that question: what would you be happy doing for free? So for me, this was video editing. I don't mind video editing. I think it's actually quite fun to video edit. Maybe not too intensive video editing when it becomes a bit of a chore, but I don't mind video editing. Ask yourself, do you like recording videos? For me, that was like, yeah, I quite like recording these videos. I don't mind it. It's something that I feel like I could put my time and energy into to feel productive, to record these videos. For you, it could be web design, okay? Maybe you just really like designing really nice websites. So you could like set up an agency where you create web pages for people. Maybe it could be like single page websites for people to generate leads for their small business or something. Or maybe you really like graphic design, okay? You really like getting into Photoshop and creating designs or on Photoshop or on Canva or something like that, and you kind of want to run like maybe social media marketing for a company and do all that like graphics, and you really quite like making the graphics look really nice and stuff, and you're kind of more creative. Maybe you could do that. But again, it's the task that you need to focus on. What is the actual task that you enjoy? And you would be happy to do that for free. But then you also need to think about, what tasks do you not want to do? So if you're thinking about getting into drop shipping, you might think, well, I really like designing the products. Okay, I really like designing the t-shirts that I'm gonna be selling on my dropshipping website. But then when you think of having to refund orders because people aren't happy or something like that, or dealing with like shipping and stuff like that, and you don't want to do all the fulfillment, like maybe you think of that task and you think, I wouldn't really enjoy doing that and having to deal with like angry customers. That's something you need to take into consideration, because even if dropshipping was making you money, there's still going to be aspects of dropshipping that aren't going to be enjoyable. So you need to just ask yourself that question: what is it that you would find fun to do for the rest of your life, even if it didn't make you any money? And then once you've asked yourself that question on what are the actual specific tasks in the day for whatever business model you're thinking of starting, whatever online business you want to do, and you would do them tasks and would happily do those tasks in the day, even if you weren't getting paid to do them. Once you've got that business model in mind, it could be YouTube, it could be dropshipping, it could be SMMA, whatever it may be, you need to run it through a framework called Sense. This is a framework that I learned from the book, The Millionaire Fast Lane. That's a really good book, by the way, if you want to kind of get a head start into kind of thinking in like business terms and to be able to pick a good business and to sort of think about audience sizes and things like that, and how to deliver a product or service to people who need it the most and things like that. That's a really good place to start. It's kind of a really good book that kind of reframes your mind on how to look at the whole world of making money and stuff. It's a great book. But there's this framework called CENTS, okay? CENTS. And what it stands for is control, entry, need, time, and scale. So I'll run through each of those now so that you understand what they mean. But you need to run your business model that you are thinking about starting or are currently in the early stages of working on, and run it through this sense model, because it kind of frames it in a way, or gives it a score that's going to allow you to see if it's actually a good business model to do or not. So starting off with the first one is control. Who actually controls the business? So I'm not saying you control the business because you're like the only sole owner of the business, okay? I'm saying, who actually are you at the mercy of? So let's run it through my business model, okay, which is YouTube. Who controls YouTube? Well, not me. Google owns YouTube. So I could be working on this business model that I've chosen, create videos, create content, But if Google ever decided to just get rid of YouTube one day, then I'm fucked, right? This whole channel's gonna go, okay, I'm fucked. So YouTube, I'm at the mercy of YouTube just continuing their existence of the platform. So I'm not actually in control of this YouTube channel, as funny as that might sound, obviously, because I have the power to post videos, I have the power to do everything. No one else helps me on this YouTube channel, it's just me by myself. But YouTube owns the platform YouTube, right? Google owns it. So I am actually not in control of this YouTube channel. So that's one thing to consider is, when you start this online business, who actually controls it? What would be another example of this, which maybe when someone would have control? This would be if you set up your own agency or something like that for like SMMA. You set up your own website, you know, you create it on the internet and you have your own website, you own the website, you own the business, you own everything. Then you're not really at the mercy of anyone, okay? Unless the internet got taken down, but that's very unlikely to happen. So if you did that, you would actually control your own business and you wouldn't be at the mercy of any other bigger business. So maybe that would be like 1 point for the SMMA and 0 points for YouTube. So entry, that's the second thing now. So what does entry mean? Entry is the barrier of entry. How easy is it to get into? So again, I'll run it through YouTube. YouTube is quite a low barrier of entry business model, but there's levels to it. So if someone sets up a YouTube channel where they don't have their face, they're not having to speak, and it's just like a screen recording of them playing video games, that's very low barrier to entry, because you could just like, you know, get your laptop up and play some video games on Steam or whatever, and just screen record it and then just upload it to YouTube, okay? Very easy to do. The easier that the business model is to do, the more people are doing it. So it's going to be more saturated. It's going to be more difficult to stand out in that crowd. Whereas when you have a YouTube channel where it's maybe got your face in it, you're talking, it's like educational like this, it's a little bit more difficult to get into. There's not as many people going to be creating self-improvement channels as there are like gaming channels. And I see this all the time because sometimes I go on Reddit on my laptop and I go into the small YouTubers community on Reddit, and there's so many people who have got video game channels and all this kind of stuff, but then there's very little people who have got like the educational channels. So that's like quite a bit of a higher barrier of entry. So there's not going to be as many people in that space, but still for me, this is still quite a low barrier of entry because I don't really have to spend any money, okay? Sometimes you can think of it as, in terms of money, how much do you have to spend financially to get into that business model? And for YouTube, it's free. So it's still very low barrier of entry. What would be a very high barrier of entry thing to do? Well, creating some like software platform, okay? So if you wanted to create a platform, like some kind of software that was maybe used in like finance or something, okay? Some kind of like financial analysis tool that like other businesses could use, and you have to code it and you have to have like knowledge of coding. You have to pay people and professionals to test it and see if it works. You have to integrate like AI business models and like you know, neural network stuff, like, you know, the higher end that you go, that's very high barrier of entry because it could cost like hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of pounds to create a business that was like that, like powerful enough to be like some like fintech platform or something, right? And that required loads of code and knowledge and a big team to manage it and things like that, like some kind of software. That's very high barrier to entry. Like think about if you wanted to make a social media app and you have to compete with like Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, and you have to build an app that's better than those. You have to code it. It has to all comply with the law. You have to build this huge team. That's very high barrier of entry. That's probably like getting up to the highest barrier of entry that you can get to. So the higher the barrier of entry, the less people are going to be competing against you. What's like the highest barrier of entry business that you could possibly have? I guess it would be something like in aerospace, okay? Like look at Elon Musk. He is building rockets and sending them up to trying to get to Mars. That's probably the highest barrier, okay? Because it's only him doing it and like maybe a couple others. He's competing with like Blue Origin and NASA. Like if you're watching this video, you're like, I want to make a space company, like an aerospace company. It's like, good luck. Like you're not going to be able to do it. It's going to cost billions, okay? So it's insanely high barrier to entry. So think of that scale of like, if you're doing something that's like feels very easy, almost like a cheat code, like you just kind of, you know, pissing about and it's kind of super easy, like you're setting up some Instagram like business model, something where you just need to post on Instagram and kind of get sales or whatever, the easier it feels, just know that you haven't found like the one thing that like, oh, this is so easy, no one's doing it. Like, you've not found it, okay? I think a lot of people with like trading on Forex and stuff, like, it's just so easy. You just like buy it and then just like hope for the best and it just goes up. Do you know what I mean? And you're in some like Telegram group chat that just gives you the things that just tells you what to buy and what to sell and when to do it and stuff. The easier it feels, just know that there's like so many people doing it. It's like, it's not going to work. If it's too easy, it's not going to work. Try and actually pick a business model that's kind of difficult. That's kind of, you have to put a lot of effort into it to like make it stand out. You have to actually learn some new skills. Maybe you have to invest a little bit of money into like a camera or something. Okay. I've not done that, but you know, if I had a camera and invested in it, then the video quality would be better. So then maybe that would get more views or something like that. Right. So just think about it. Like, if it feels too easy, then it's probably like too good to be true. Okay, so the next thing on the sense framework is need or needs. How needed is your product or service that you're thinking of doing for your business? So for me, I think this is very needed. All my friends are kind of my target audience, okay? So a lot of my friends are kind of in the situation that I was in 3-4 years ago, and I'm trying to sort of help other people like my friends to get out of the situation where they're spending hours and hours a day doom scrolling. They're addicted to porn. They're addicted to going out and drinking and spending all their money. They don't have any passion project to work on. They don't have anything to put their time and attention into. They just, you know, on and off going to the gym. They're kind of out of shape, whatever. Like, that is my target audience, and I think it's needed. I think self-improvement is something that is needed for young guys and young girls as well, right? But especially dudes, right? I think self-improvement is a super, super valuable path to set people on. And even if I can just help a couple people, then that's like my job done. So I think there is a need for that in terms of like my thing that I'm doing right now on YouTube. So you just think like, whatever it is that you're providing, is there a need for it? Is there like a deep desire for people to have your product or your service or your knowledge or advice or whatever it is? Let me compare this to like drop shipping. Does anyone need, is there a big market for your t-shirt that has like some kind of like logo on it, okay? Like, probably not, honestly, mate, but if you can make it work, then great, right? If you're like a branding expert and you want to build this really cool brand, then maybe people will want it and need it. But I'm talking more of like in the market, is there actually a need for this sort of thing? Do you see other people who are doing the thing that you want to do, who are like very successful at it, okay? Is there a need for self-improvement advice? Well, there is, because I've seen lots of self-improvement YouTubers who are doing very well, okay? They've got a very successful YouTube channel. They're helping loads of people. I'm thinking of Hamza, Dan Coe, and all these like Jack Pidgeot, all these kind of people, okay? That there is definitely a need for it. But if you look into your niche and look into, drop shipping, for example, again, I'll say, is there a lot of people doing really well in drop shipping? And just ask yourself with that particular one, is it because they're selling a course on drop shipping? So is there a need for people to learn about drop shipping and learn how to build sites and stuff and buy courses? Well, yeah, because you're interested in drop shipping, so you might be wanting to buy a drop shipping course. So that's probably why they're making money. But think about your actual business. Like, is there a need for you to sell that particular product to someone? Okay, the next one is time. So what this one basically is does it require constant time input to keep generating income? And what I mean by this is, let's say there's a business model where you are going to be a PT, so a personal trainer. So your job is to coach people. Maybe it could be online coaching or in-person coaching on how to get fit and healthy at the gym, right? Maybe you're going to be helping them with diet. You're going to be helping them with lifting weights, with tracking calories. You're going to help them be accountable. But that business model requires your constant time, because you might charge per hour, which means that when you're not actively working, like you're not sat down on the call with the client actually giving them advice, you're not getting paid. Whereas with YouTube, with this, when I've created this video, like I've spent the time to create the video works whilst I'm asleep, whilst I'm at the gym, whilst I'm going for a walk. The video is still working in the background, and all the videos I've made before that are still working as well. So it's not time dependent. That's why I picked YouTube. That's the main reason why I picked this business model, is because it doesn't require my constant time. Obviously, I need to spend time to create new content, obviously, but it doesn't mean that once I have like spent this time creating this video, that like it's just that time is directly correlated to how many views this video will get. Like, I've spent very little time on videos and got more views than videos I've spent a lot of time on. It's not connected to time. So just think about your business model. Is it like some kind of online coaching thing? Is it something where you need to be there in person? If it is, it's going to require your time. And that really limits how you can scale the business, because ideally we don't want to be working for the rest of our lives very like long hours every day. We want to go explore, right? You're the kind of guy, you're this far into the video, you want to go explore, you want to go traveling maybe, you want to go see the world, and you want something that's kind of paying you. I guess it's passive income, but I don't like that word passive income because it feels very fake, but it kind of is passive income, right? It's kind of you're making money in the background, right? You've already done the work, and then that work that you spent the time on keeps working for you, even after you spent the time working on it, okay? That's why I picked YouTube. But this can work with dropshipping. This could work with SMMA, potentially SMMA. SMMA will require more time connection. Like when you stop spending time on your SMA business, you know, clients will eventually leave and you will have to put time in to get more clients back. And you'll have to put a certain amount of time in each month on like the monthly retainer that you agree on. It's still kind of charging by the hour. But basically, the further away you can get from charging by the hour, the better. And a lot of the business models I find, when it's not charging by the hour, it takes a lot longer to build up and to get paid from it. And when you are charging by the hour, it's easier to get paid straight away, but it's harder to scale further than like whatever time you can put into it. Because think about it, you can only put in realistically 12 hours a day of your life, right? So in the day, you can only really spend 12 hours on a business, and you don't want to be hitting that cap where you're working constantly in the day and you can't make any more money, because that business model requires you to be paid per hour that you put in. This is the main issue with like working a 9 to 5. You get paid per hour, and when you're not at work, you're not getting paid, okay? And that's why it's such a difficult business. Like, if work was a business model, that's why it's so difficult. So yeah, that's why I picked YouTube. So whatever it is you're thinking of doing, just running through the time. Is it connected to your actual hours in the day? Okay, and the last bit of this sense framework is the S, the scale. So what does this mean? You need to pick a business model that is scalable. So what that means is that, for example, again, I'll use YouTube because YouTube is scalable. I could spend 3 hours on a video, and then I could spend another 3 hours on a different video, and then another 3 hours on another video, and another. But each video is going to compound on top of each other, and each video is going to work like its own asset on its own, again, not connected to my time, and you can scale that. So there's YouTubers out there who make a 3-hour-long video like this and put the same amount of time and effort that I've put into, but they'll get millions of views, and I'll only get maybe 100 or something like that. And that's just because the longer you work on a YouTube channel and the more videos you create and the more visibility you get, and the more you build up your audience, it scales even for the same amount of time that you put in. So it's scalable. Now, let's look at something like an SMMA business. How is SMMA scalable? Well, you could charge more per hour. You can get more clients, so you can have more clients, but then you've got to do more work. So it is scalable, but only to an extent, because you can't start charging £1,000 an hour or something like that. You have to kind of cap it and be realistic. So SMMA is scalable, but not insanely scalable, unless you were to like hire staff members that can do the work for you, and then you can get more and more clients, and then you can build it up. So it is definitely scalable, but maybe not as scalable as YouTube. I don't think any SMMA agencies, or small ones at least, are going to be making as much as some of the bigger YouTubers are making for the same amount of time. So just run it through that. Whatever business model you want to do, is it scalable? Dropshipping, it's definitely scalable. Yeah, you can just keep driving more people to your website and selling more products. Okay, so that's scalable. Let's think of another business model. Okay, online coaching, is that scalable? Well, you can get more clients, you can spend more time with the clients, and you can start charging more per hour that you spend with the client. But again, it's kind of like the agency, only up to a certain extent. So maybe online coaching isn't that scalable. Scalability is basically just a quantity of people that you can get to the business or that you can deliver the product or service to. Is that quantity of people able to keep increasing and increasing and increasing? And are you able to charge more per product, per service, per view, whatever it is, so that it just scales, okay? That is basically how you work out if it's scalable or not. And honestly, I think YouTube is one of the best business models for this. It's one of the most scalable. Let's talk about that extreme example. If you set up a software company and you had this platform for like fintech or something, right? When we talked about the really high barrier of entry, that's very scalable because you could charge like a monthly fee. And in that industry, the monthly fee could be like $1,000 a month. And trust me, in the fintech industry, that would be considered cheap. And you could have that, and then you could just get like tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people sign up to that, and then you could like increase it again. And so like software and apps and stuff like that are like insanely scalable. I mean, look at TikTok, like the people who created TikTok. Imagine how scalable TikTok is, because it's gone, you can reach billions, like literally billions of people use TikTok. Billions of people can download your app and you can show them billions of videos and millions of ads. Like, it's so scalable, and that's why it makes so much money. So think about scalability and just run your business model through that. Is it actually able to scale over 2, 3, 4 years? So that is the sense framework in its totality. And when you run your business model through this, the more things that you can just say yes to, the better the business model is. So I'll quickly run through YouTube if that's something that you're thinking of doing, and because it's just for myself, if anything, just to see if it's like good on the sense framework. So control, no, there's no control in YouTube. If YouTube goes, I go. So that's nothing, no points yet. High or low barrier to entry, I'm going to put that in the middle, maybe half a point, so 0.5 so far. Need, is there a need for YouTube? Well, it's the most used website in the world. There's billions of people using it. And for my particular niche of like self-development, self-improvement, I think there's millions of people in the self-improvement. So there's definitely a need for it. So that's 1.5 I'll put as a score. So 1, and then half for the entry one as well. Time, does it require my constant time and attention? No, it can work in the background. 2.5. And scale, yes, it can scale. So 3.5. So I'll give YouTube a 3.5 out of 5 on the sense framework. So pretty good, but not amazing. What would be the best? It would be creating your own platform, your own software, your own business that no one else controls. That's 1. Very high barrier of entry. That's 2. And there's a need for it. There's a market for it. That's 3. It doesn't require your constant time and input. Once it's made, it works by itself. That's 4. And it scales, 5. That would be like your software development and stuff like that. So can you see now how that sense framework would work? If you can, great. Go and put your idea of what you would be happy working on for free for the rest of your life and put it through that sense framework and see if it's something that would realistically work out for you. Okay, so now that you've picked the business model that you want to put your time and energy into, you just need to do it, right? You can literally click off this video and just go and start working on it. You just need to replace the bad habits that you're currently doing, the things that's taking up all the time in your day, and just do this business model instead. So rather than spending time scrolling through social media, rather than playing video games for hours and hours on end, rather than watching porn and feeling like shit afterwards and rotting your brain, why not just replace those shit habits with whatever it is that you need to do to work on this business that you've chosen? YouTube, SMMA, online coaching, whatever it is that you've chosen, just go and start working on it. Maybe you've even gone a step further than me and you've said, fuck it, I'm gonna go and create this app, okay? And you're just gonna learn how to code JavaScript and you just need to sit down and build the thing, okay? Go and start working on it, okay? And then what other miscellaneous tasks can you do alongside that is just going to help to improve your mind and body? Those 2 tips that we talked, those 2 sections of the video before this. So you could replace bad habits with just going for a walk, reading books and upskilling yourself, listening to a podcast of like someone who's in the position that you want to be in, maybe like for the software stuff, right? Okay, you go and listen to like the Whoop CEO. If you know what Whoop is, it's that band that you put on that tracks your sleep. You could go listen to like podcasts from him and see how he set up that business. Or you're on self-improvement, you want to create a self-improvement YouTube channel. Well, you're watching me, you're upskilling yourself and watching me. You could go watch bigger YouTubers in self-improvement who have already kind of got to where you want to be, right? Listen to them, upskill yourself. You need to, keep training at the gym, keep training that discipline, keep training that grit. There's so many things that you can be doing in the day instead of just spending time, kind of wasting time, I guess, getting the cheap, easily accessible dopamine that you're sort of currently doing. And the last bit of advice I want to leave you on is, imagine you spend 2 hours a day on social media. That works out at 672 hours per year. So imagine what you could get done in 672 hours. You could probably create that bit of software that is going to, help people to track their sales in that certain niche for like hotels or something. You could probably create at least 100 or 150 videos, maybe 200 videos in 600 hours. You could easily do that. You could create an online course. You could build up the YouTube channel that I've built up, even though it's a small YouTube channel, and at least get to your first 1,000 subscribers easily, right? In 600 hours, 1 year, just from having to not spend time on social media, not spend time playing video games. That's just if you do 2 hours a day on social media right now. And I bet most people are probably spending close to 4 hours a day on socials. So imagine if you didn't spend 4 hours a day, you'd have like over 1,200 hours extra in the year to literally build up an entire business. Like, just go for it, man. There's nothing stopping you doing it. I've given you all the advice that you need. I've given you literally everything from start to finish. All you need to do now is just go and find the thing that you want to focus on and start pouring your heart, soul, energy, and time into that thing rather than consuming other people's value that they're providing, okay? Right now, like I said earlier on, you're just consuming stuff and you need to go from a consumer to a producer, okay? Start actually producing this stuff and being a producer. Okay, bro, and that's pretty much it for the action section. A bit more of a simpler section, but I just wanted to give you the kind of frameworks in which to run through to actually pick a business that is going to allow you to just put your heart and soul into and your time and energy into, something to give you a bit of a purpose, something to give you something that is going to feel productive, like when you're working on it, okay? Because the feeling of being productive, the feeling that you've achieved something in the day is so motivating. It's going to make you so driven, and it's just going to propel you forward on your whole self-improvement journey and set you above all your friends and your family who are kind of just mulling along in life, kind of just consuming content. And I think if you've got this far into the video, because this is a long video, first of all, very well done. Like, I'm getting very tired recording this video, I'll be honest. I'm ready to sign off and just edit it now. But yeah, you clearly this far into the video, so right now is the time when you take my advice, you go and you actually implement, okay? This video won't help you if you don't go and actually take action. So this video is pretty much over now. I'm gonna just record the outro now. I think it's been a bit of an experiment, this video, honestly, trying to get like a very long video, something to see if people will actually stick around and take in all this advice over like 3 hours. And yeah, I hope that it has been very helpful. It's been kind of fun to make. It's been kind of, again, a bit of an experiment for me to see if I could make a really long ass video, kind of like a self-improvement movie. But yeah, there's hundreds of pieces of advice in this video. I've got my spreadsheet open here and there's just like hundreds of bullet points that I'm pretty sure I've gone through all of them throughout this whole video. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. If you've got to the end of it, fucking well done, mate. I fucking respect that. If you did get to the end of it, please leave a comment. Please leave some advice, feedback, some constructive criticism. Did this video help you? Was there anything in this video that really stuck out to you and you thought that was very helpful? If there was, please leave it in the comment section. It just helps the algorithm as well to push this video out to more people that might need it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, bro. Well done. And yeah, by now you should have, 20, 30 pages of notes after watching this video. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.